again in 2021.
There he goes into a dive. What a catch!
The rise of cricket was celebrated across the country. Now, with big wickets and even bigger hits, the stars of minor league cricket are back and better than ever.
Climax goes huge!
Don't miss the nation's largest league competing for the biggest prize in American cricket. The Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship returns June 25th.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.
Thank you, Suhas. What a wonderful day here. Bright sunshine is expected from San Diego, and we've got teams both from Southern Cal, so let's call it the Southern Cal League for now. And Zubair in.
Hint of movement after pitching, but right in the middle of the bat. Good cricket all around. Marty Kane was back in the side, didn't waste any time to get going. Quickly onto this one, stopping the ball from going away. That's outside the 30-yard circle. Very well fielded indeed. Saved at least a couple of runs for his side. You're watching 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. And both these teams each for the win. Zubair has got a game again. Will want to make the most of it. And not if that's the length. That is threaded through covers. Will reach the fence in no time. Devam runs towards it, but that's going to be... Jimmy, what a cracking shot this is. Quickly onto this one.
Absolutely overpitched, head over the ball and smacked through the covers. What a lovely shot there. Zubair tends to swing the ball in the early overs, so we're going to have to look if we see any signs of swing, although at mid-afternoon, hardly likely. None for 5 in the first over here at Canyon Side Park in sunny San Diego. Zubair. From the tennis court end, much better length this time, pushed out into the covers. Marty Kane right on top of the ball, and none for 5. If it's going to be anything like it was last Saturday, Suhas, we're in for a real treat. I still can't get over the absolutely smashing game we had down to the wire. Unbelievable catch on the boundary, but here's Zubair again from the tennis court end. Oh, that one swung far from middle and leg, so far down in the air you could actually see the wind picking it up, and unfortunately this is something that we see a lot from Zubair, which is 5 wides down the... What a pity, because that ball, I could literally see it swinging in the air, but it's a bit too much, and Iftikhar had no chance.
Banana swing indeed. Iftikhar tried his best by leaping towards his left, but only so much could he do. With the ball swinging. Zubair's got to bring his line back. This is much better. Making the batter play at it. It's important that Zubair learns quickly. One of the reasons that he was not in the first place was the number of wides that he was giving away back in Houston as well, and because of the extra pace that he has, which is supposed to be a boon for the bowler, has turned to a bane because of it being so wavered. Much better once again, pitched up, Devam around it, would not be able to stop the single, but will stop the ball from racing away. An eventful indeed, an eventful over. 10 for no loss. So you have a little battery right. Okay, I'll give it. Do you have a pen on you by any chance? Okay. So do you have a pen? Did you? This one is using. Okay, let's see.
End of the first over, and the Hollywood Master Blasters blasting off to none for 11. Rohit Ramkumar on 4.
11 or 10.
Correction, that's none for 10.
Right? Yeah.
Well, actually, I think it is 11, isn't it? Because Rohit is on 5, and there were five extras. We had a wide, and it went down for 4, so I guess it is none for 11. Operating from the far end of the ground, the reserve end, is young Devam Srivastava. Will be bowling to a field keeper right up there. Short third man, backward point. A cover and a extra cover. A short mid-off, long on the fence, short mid-wicket, and a fine leg halfway down to the boundary. And let's see what Devam has for us. He's had a pretty good start for San Diego Surf Riders in the last few games. He's been able to capture a wicket in the first over. Let's see if history can repeat itself. Devam to Rohit. Nice ball down the legs, turn viciously, and it looked like buys again. Swings after it, get through one, and so that's going to be 2 extras to the total, 2 wides, and the score goes up to none for 12.
Devam would have wanted to start better. He loves this end as well, the reserve end. That's because he's found a couple of spots which he can call his own. Pitches the ball there 90% of the time, picks up a wicket. And that spot is somewhere around the middle and leg for the right-hander, middle and off for the lefty. We saw Mark Dayal as well last week, utilizing that spot to get that kick.
Absolutely, Sir Hassan. With Devam's height, you had vicious turn, but also bounce. I think it took wicketkeeper Iftikhar Ahmed quite surprised. Here he is again. This one's outside off stump, and I'm not sure if that really is covering the umpire, because I saw him kind of run right in front of umpire Bandola. So it's one of those things. You know, the umpire's going to have to talk to Devam, young kid, 19. Old. And this one is sent out into the offside. Will it be? Yes, it has. It has beaten Marty Kane. 4 runs. Nice shot there by Mrinal Patel. Elegant. He is such a lovely player on that front foot, and he's off the mark. Beautiful 4 straight down to wide mid-off.
A lovely shot indeed. Just latches onto it so quickly. Reads the line and length very early, Mrinal. There's some international experience that young Devam's bowling took. It's got to remember that the margin of error is anyways very, very diminished in the first 6 overs with just 2 men patrolling the boundary row. That's the ball. That's the ball with additional bounce. You could sense that if Iftikhar was ready for it to collect at not so comfortable height, but he knows that this pitch has got some demons.
No doubt about that, Suhas. This ball was really rearing, and you'd expect bounces from the faster bowlers. Again outside the off stump, this time almost drawing that cut. See Ronaldo for the cut, and literally playing the ball after it had gone past. I think that was deliberate. He would have loved to have a crack at it, but not with the slip that's been put into place now. Devam around the wicket from the far end. Short ball, that deserves to be punished, and it is down to wide mid-wicket. Skipper Greg Hay comes across from long on. A good throwback, but effortless single. As we come towards the end of the second over. None for 18. Master Blaster's off to a pretty good start. Devam decides to go over the wicket now for the right-handed Rohit Ramkumar.
Rohit Ramkumar has played a lot of cricket in Botswana, where he grew up. Now calls Bay area his home. He was amongst runs for the Strikers last year. And it's one of his favourite shots, which has gone straight to the fielder. The extra height as well, something that Rohit's got to negotiate with the ball dipping down on him at the last moment. End of 2, 18 for no loss. It's closing ring. Yeah, you can go second and screen time out. Right, indefinite. 2 overs gone, 18 for no loss. Captain Greg has decided just 1 over for Zubair. Got to see a change in bowling. Looks like it's going to be Harish Kakani from the commentary box end. Now, Harish Kakani has been amongst the wickets more often than not for San Diego Surf Riders, and he's always brought at difficult times. They gets another over in the power play. The team meeting as well is discussing with the captain. He wants to get that additional responsibility up top. Bowl as much in the power play too. With just 2 fielders at the boundary rope, he's got to hit the nail on the head.
Absolutely, Suhas, you've got to hit the seam here, and Harish is one of those on the San Diego Surf Rider team that is capable of doing it. In fact, I was having a chat with him, and he said that that's something he really wants to work hard at. So let's see if it's paying off today as he goes in from us. Oh, this one's bowled him, crashing through. Mrinal, first ball, goes for a wild hit, and the ball crashes through middle and off stump. So they lit up, and San Diego are on their way, and so is Mrinal Patel. Very disappointed Mrinal, I'm sure, bowled by Harish Kakani, and the first wicket goes down for the Master Blasters.
Very disappointing indeed. Mrinal Patel played a shot that he generally does play at all. Loves to drive through the offside. Cross batted this time around. Harish Kakani gets the first one right on the money. Inside edge, middle stump knock back. That's the first back in the pavilion for Hollywood Master Blasters. 18 for 1. And this is exactly why Harish Kakani wanted the ball in hand, and that too early in the game. He wants to shape the game rather than get the mending work when other bowlers have gone for runs. He wants to be the one who can pick up a couple of wickets early on and try and get the game under control for San Diego Surf Riders rather than play catch-up cricket later on. Good plan. Great execution from Harish Kakani.
A big wicket there for San Diego, and now, used to be a soothsayer here, Suhas, because you said Harish tends to grab a wicket in his first over, and I think he outdid it. He got in the first ball. But anyway, a field settling in now as the Master Blasters blasted off to a good start, and lost their first wicket. Rohit Ramkumar on 5. He's played 6 balls, got a 4 in there, and let's just see who he's going to be joined by. It's Cody Chetty, the captain himself. Cody Chetty played some terrific games last year, and particularly one right here in San Diego. So we'll be looking to see what he can do this time as he takes on Harish Kakani bowling from the tennis squad end. Harish, away from us. Nice. He's run up. Offside field is back. This one is over-pitched. Inside edge to Greg Hay. Single. A nice packed offside field. The short third man. A slip. Deep third man, backward point, cover mid-off on the offside. So it's a packed offside field. On the onside, you've got skipper Greg Hay at short mid-on. You've got a mid-wicket right on the fence and a deep fine leg.
Extra bit of bounce as well. Cody Chetty nicely negotiates it as he plays it off his hips for a single. Eventually, Captain Greg Hay comes around to the square leg position to ensure it's only a single and nothing more. Harish Kakani. How impressive has he been? In fact, the first delivery that he bowled to Cody Chetty was similar to the one that he bowled to Mrinal. Adjust. Of course, to the fact that he was a righty that he was bowling this time around. He's not scared of pitching it up because that is why he got a slip in place initially. That was for Cody Chetty, not for Rohit, who's been there for a while. Another battle within a battle. Loves the drive shots. A little bit of a misfield, but quickly latches onto the ball once again. That means it's going to rain a lot more. Belgium, he's played a lot of cricket in Botswana, Rohit, growing up there. And then, of course, in last year, strikers assumed the responsibility up top for a while, and then with Unmukh Chand ensuring that he opens with Sir Rahul at that time, then assumed responsibility as a finisher with Gary.
Now, I like the way he's been middling the ball, Suhas. Very clear. And this one he's taken it off his toes, and this has gone down to deep mid-wicket. A single, nonetheless. But I've really liked the way he's middled the ball, particularly in the offside. And of course, the last ball wasn't particularly well timed, but a single nonetheless. And Rohit, with his red helmet, clearly distinguishing himself, gets his skipper, Cody Chetty, to take strike now from Hishka Khani. Last ball of the over here. Short, nicely steered down towards deep third man, and tall, lanky Sri Krishna flings it back to Iftikhar, and the end of the third over here is the Hollywood Masters 20 for 1 and 3. Game sling down. The pitch has been playing reasonably well after a couple of balls took length with the tall, lanky, off-spinning Devam Srivastava. So we hear from Kenyan Side Park, Suhas and I, Jimmy Eaglesaria, bringing you this ball-by-ball description. We've got a single camera, so we're going to have to give you a lot more description. So for listeners out there, the reason we are bringing you more radio-ish commentary is because we have a single camera, and we'd like to bring that game into your living room. So thank you, Suhas, for coming all the way from India to join me here in the box. Devam it is.
Absolute pleasure, Jimmy. Devam's got a curtail on deliveries of this kind. A freebie gifted to Hollywood Master Blasters. The overs yet to start in the scorebooks. Devam's also got to be careful of flight. The ball a little bit more because Cody Chetty is a tall man and loves to go inside out. He's earned bread and butter with his inside out shots. A half-hearted appeal there. The umpire unmoved. Cody Chetty didn't have to bother much. He wasn't absorbed in that appeal. He was quite content going for the run. That's good to see as well. Now Rohit gets to do what he loves doing, opening the batting. He set up. It's been drafted off late. Can he be the man to turn it around for his side in the second half of the 14 games for them? Hollywood Master Blasters. Cody Chetty, who at the moment would be at the knocker's end, is someone who's shown great leadership skills during difficult situations. It's something that youngsters can learn a lot from. I was talking to Cody Chetty about captaincy, and I asked him what's the most important aspect of being a skipper. He said for a side like this, it's about management, because everyone's already experienced. That's much better. I like the ploy as well, to try and use the angle to take it away from the right. And for someone who loves to go inside out, the moment he sees some width, will throw his bat at it, and that is an opportunity early on to make him miscue one. A little bit of drift for young Devan, that should have been stopped.
have a handle on it, and the batters are also settling into a certain rhythm. So the here to bowl. Coming in though, and it's cracked off the back foot. That's a cracking shot. Screaming around to the boundary, and it will make it there. So that is a really, really pretty looking shot by Rohit Ramkumar. 4 runs to him. This is the second 4 as he moves on to 11, and 30 comes up in the middle of the 5th over. That was short and did tend to come in, but the batter had it so well covered, the right foot moving across, copybook cricket, and 4 runs through the covers.
Tall Rohit quickly covers the line as well. Very quickly covers the line. He's got swift hands. He's got a very Dhoni-like prog. Not a full flourish of the bat after he plays the shot. Disturbed timber. That's one way to send the batter back to the pavilion. He's done it twice now. What a comeback from the bowler after being hit away for 2 fours, one by each batter. Harish Kakani roars. Greg Hayes celebrates because he knows he's got another piece of the puzzle right.
Absolutely, and this was another very, very important wicket for San Diego Surf Riders. Again, Suhas, I noticed the ball was swinging in the air. It was an in-swinger, and Cody Chetty went for just a heave-ho. The previous ball he hit such a beautiful 4, but I guess, a little over-enthusiastic. So far, I wouldn't say the wicket has had anything to do with the dismissals. It's just good bowling. And I've noticed something, Suhas. When the bowler pitches the ball within the line of the stumps at a good length, you've always got to ask the question. But for some reason, San Diego in the past, they have focused on short balls, wide balls, and they've been taken to the cleaners. So I guess the message has been received loud and clear, and let's see how it moves on as we've seen the second wicket fall for the Hollywood Master Blasters, 2 for 35 in the middle of the 5th over.
Now, Jimmy, you said it right. They themselves have got the answer here, San Diego Surf Riders. I was a little perplexed when the slip had to go. Slip was sacrificed even though the ball is swinging. But now I realize why was that decision taken. That is to strengthen the offside and bowl wicket to wicket.
So looks like Devon's getting a third over here, is he? Or is it Marty Kane?
Marty Kane's got the ball.
Marty Kane's got the ball, and Devon's they're trying to find a place for Devon to field, and that's kind of unfortunate. Looking for a place to hide a young person like Devon. But he did give us 2 overs, and let's see now. Marty Kane returning from a successful trip, although the U.S. team did not make it, just one short of making it to the World Cup. But Marty's back, and it's nice to see him, the former captain of the San Diego Surf Rider, and he's in here now as they move into the 9th game of the season. So San Diego missed him for 8, but let's see what Marty has to offer as he starts his first ball.
Must be sweet pain missing.
Oh, Marty has this very awkward action, and he does tend to bring the ball in. So Ravi Timbawala, the former San Diego Surf Rider, is now at the wicket. But this one from Marty outside the off stump just had a little bit like Devam, a little bit of kick to it. Steered out into the covers where Devam does the fielding.
I'm very sure the spinners are queuing up to bowl from the reserve end. Oh, this one turned a little bit more. Now, as the over is progressing, Jimmy, the amount of turn and offer is also changing. Just improving. It's important for Rohit to not give his wicket away here, despite a string of dot balls like this. Good work by Marty Kane, right on the money. Didn't get to bowl much at the international setup.
That's right. I think they've used him more for his batting and his spectacular. Oh, that was a good ball. Wild swipe there by Rohit. The ball just missing the top of off stump. And that had turn on it, Suhas.
Relentless, and that extra bounce this time just over the crown of the stumps, called the bails. Good collect by Iftikhar. Mind you, Iftikhar hasn't played much with Marty. This time slower. He reads what the batter is going to do. Wants to throw the bat on the leg side, but the ball eventually arrived while he was through with a shot. Such good change in pace. Such a shrewd cricketer, Marty Kane, as he completes a maiden over to start with. 35 for no loss. 35 for 2, I beg your pardon.
35 for 2 after 6.
Yeah, 35. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Looks like it's going to be spin from both ends. Nikhil Datta is gearing up to bowl his first from the commentary box end. As we like to thank Toyota, the tournament's title sponsor, Toyota. It's for the second year running, and they've been excellent in providing the support to see cricket grow, bloom and blossom in this part of the world, and tell the world in itself that here is another reason to play cricket, and here is some talent coming towards you. Such good talent unearthed, and we're talking about talent from all age groups here. Not just the youngsters, but the established players have grown to even more mature cricketers, thanks to tournaments of this kind. The 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Nikhil Datta would be relying on a lot of turn, I believe. He's firing it in at the moment. He's not interested in tossing the ball up.
I'm not sure if that's the right tactic. I know the field is still in and we're in the 7th over, but this one is cross-batted into the mid-wicket region. They'll be just single there. But that was outside the off-stump. Now, one of the things about Nikhil Datta, he's the San Diego mystery spinner. He can bowl off-spin, he bowls the doosra, he throws in a leg break once in a while. And if at all I had anything to offer young Nikhil would be, as a spinner, put the ball above the eye line, and this is not what he does. He pushes it through again, and Timbawala uses his wrists, flicks it over to short mid-wicket, and Greg Hay, beautiful pickup, slams it back into Iftikhar. Again, San Diego beginning to tighten the screws and slowing down the rate, but that could change in a hurry. Nikhil Datta. Again, this one comes in low, and Timbawala very, very quick to get his bat down on it to Devam at backward point for a single.
Good work by
And
Devam.
the score is now 2 for 37. Suhas?
Yeah, excellent work by Devam. Jimmy, you could see the ball was spinning away from him with the torque, but he brought his body, he's brought his body behind the ball. That cut shot is on, I believe, as Greg Hay appoints himself at point. Doesn't go after it. Rohit. It's important that Rohit tells himself that the runs will come. Yes, he's played out a maiden over. Not for the lack of trying, but for the brilliance of Marty Kane.
Absolutely, and let's see if Nickel can pull this back again. Quicker ball, and that's gone high in the air. It's coming straight out towards the commentator's box. Bang on us, right on top. Thank you, Tent. 6 runs, the first 6 of the game.
When was the last time you saw a dent on the tent?
That's a good one, and of course the umpire calling to check on the ball. Seriously, he couldn't have done much damage, but 6 nonetheless. That's the first 6 of the game. Rohit got under that one, took his time, put it up and over the fence. So that brings us to the end of the 7th over.
7 overs gone, 45 for 2. Seven overs gone, 45 for 2. You're watching 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. What a good shot that was from Rohit. Got the width to free his arms as well, and the length targeted the straighter boundaries, and he's someone who's so well built that the ball will travel to the fence more often than not. It's extremely breezy today. That means you hit with the wind, the ball will carry itself over the rope. Marty Kane continues to play out the script that he's been handed. Trouble the batter, pick up wickets.
I love the way Marty is constantly changing his line and length and his speed. He has this tendency to push the ball quick, and then he pulls one back up. This next one is steered out towards Greg Hay, diving to his left at cover. Good fielding there, and that's it's the agility of the senior players. It's the intent that they're showing that sets a good example to the younger ones. So Marty's now sent down 8 balls and yet to get a run off him. Let's see when that spell can be broken. This one's lifted high in the air, and it's gone to wide and deep mid-off for a single. So yes, as I said, he wasn't giving away runs, but there you go. But just a single nonetheless. Good bowling there from Marty.
Just tells you the importance of that 6 in the last over, because Rohit knew it's Marty coming up next. Scoring runs would be difficult.
Now that one's gone high in the air. There's no field that's in between cover and deep extra cover. A single. Now that's the one when your heart's in your mouth. A miscued shot high in the air. And I'm sure Rohit was not too happy as it sailed in. And then luckily for him, it fell in no man's land. Marty's bowling exceptionally well. Let's see what Timber has to do. And Timber goes for a swipe, and he does. He gets it. Will Harish cut it off, or Zubair? And that's probably cut off in the deep square leg area. 2 runs to Timber. Forgive me for calling you Timber. Ravi Timbawala was one of the San Diego Surf Riders last year. Very, very nice batsman. A good wicket keeper. Suhas?
Absolutely. He's already got 2 half-centuries under his belt. One against the Tigers, and the other against SoCal Lashings last week. Such a terrific cricketer, loves to get going. Once he gets a start, he's a different kind of a batter altogether. He just goes through the gears so quickly. Ravi Timbawala, not only is he concentrating on hitting the bigger boundaries, he's also attempting those quick singles. It's good to see, especially against Marty Kane. 50 on the board now for Hollywood Master Blasters for the loss of 2. End of 9. 8 overs gone, 50 for 2. '22 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. A big shout out to our presenting sponsor Sunoco, feeling the best. And as far as cricket is concerned, feeling the best of the best. That's a good single. Bit of a misfield from Devam Srivastava. That's one of the reasons that when you swoop towards the ball, you stay low. Even if you take it slightly easy, then the ball will ricochet off your palms and you won't be able to clasp it. And that little moment, that half a second allows enough time for the batters to decide if they want to go through with a single because they already have a start. That's a better delivery. He's going to push it through quickly. He's got to be careful of amount of width that he wants to give to someone like Rohit, who's already hit him straight down the ground for 6, Jimmy.
Yep, this one's quick and it's short. Now that's not the type of shot that Rohit wants to be playing, Suhas. It's short, it's outside the off stump, and he tried to pull it over mid-wicket off the back foot, and that's where you can clearly give yourself an opportunity to miscue it. Outside the off stump, you got to play on the offside at this stage of the game. This one's short, outside the off stump, smacked off the back foot, but it's Tondale who's got it covered at wide and long mid-off for single nonetheless. Rohit Ramkumar slowly and steadily pushing his total up. He's 21 now and 2 for 52 in the 9th over. Greg Hayes strengthening the offside for Ravi Timbawala, planting himself at cover point. Nikhil goes around the wickets, and this one is flipped off the hips for an easy single down to mid-on. Ravi up to 8 now, yes. Yep. Timbawala's now gone on to 8. And Nikhil Datta then to Rohit. And this one, he's got it up in the air and over. And beautifully taken there outside by our communications expert, Raju. What a beautiful catch, if only he was inside the ground. But that's the second 6. And I think, Suhas, this is what has been working so well for Rohit. He picks up the action and takes a 6 once every couple of overs.
And chooses the last ball to do so. He's done that twice now, 59 for 2. No sir, this is not updated. Yeah, now it's updated. So I'll do the first 3-4 balls, then it's like that, because I'll be able to get the mentions up.
I'll leave the phone. When you say Jimmy, I'll pick it up.
2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sudoku. The San Diego Surf Riders taking on the Hollywood Master Blasters. 9 overs ago, Hollywood Master Blasters, they were asked to bat first. 59 for 2, not a bad start at all on a track which took the better of the batter, especially in the first 2 overs. Got the better of the batters because of that extra bounce and lack of bounce from one end. Leg spinner Vedant Jain introduced. Ravi Timbawala absorbed in ball watching while Rohit wanted a single, completes it in the end. Rohit would be itchy to hit another one, another biggie. Now that the leg spinner is in operation, some reprieve for Rohit because he wasn't reading Marty at all. Straight to the skipper, Greg Hay. Vedant Jain, lovely action, quicker through the air. He's working on the wrong end. Still a work in progress, the wrong end, but he's got a lovely slider. That is one of the reasons that he's been brought into the attack. It's the second time that Rohit's missed one that was straight enough. But, however, the extra bounce on that occasion doesn't disturb Timber. Such a promising youngster. Vedant Jain, would he be featuring Daffin News Player of the Week? Yes, if he picks up wickets, trouble at the non-striker's end. The throw is slightly wider. Ravi Timbawala has completed 2 runs by himself, but that won't be counted. Jimmy, they've got to be better in terms of calling.
Well, I think you couldn't have heard it louder than that. And here's another beautiful ball turning from outside the leg stump. Shane Warne-like, from outside leg to the offside steer down to short third man. I like the way Vedant is really trying to turn the ball, which is what a spinner ought to be doing, especially on a wicket like this. This one again giving him enough time. A beautiful catch! That was an absolute outstanding catch from skipper Greg Hay. To his left, the ball screaming towards the boundary, and not only did he dive to his left, Suhas, he took it with both hands. That is an absolute soccer goalkeeper-like. The penalty didn't go through.
The conviction to go with both hands, take the catch airborne, and while he comes down as well, ensuring that he's cupped it nicely and not let it pop out with the elbows touching the ground. This is how you take a screamer. What a good catch from Greg Hay. Otherwise, that would have been crashing into the fence in no time.
And a good wicket too for Vedant and San Diego, because Rohit Ramkumar was certainly looking like he could have taken this game on. He had two beautiful sixes, two fantastic fours. He was pacing himself. He kept the singles, ones and twos, and was pretty much at a run of ball. But every time he fell behind, out came that six, and he would catch up. So a really good wicket there, and again, congratulations to Vedant Jain. He's been putting the ball on the spot, and with no pace behind it, the batter's got to really give it a good whack, which he did, and found an unbelievable catch from the San Diego skipper. So good cricket all around. With one ball to go now, 3 for 60. Is that the end of the over? Yes, it is. End of the 10th, 3 for 60.
Hollywood Master Blasters, after being asked to bat at the halfway stage, 60 on the board, they'd be concentrating on the 7 wickets in hand, and they would want Ravi Timbawala to continue at this stage. Rohit, who got a lovely start, is finding himself back in the hut because of a shot which he thought has hit it in the gap. Little did he realize that the Kiwi at covers, Greg Hay, was able to get to it in the end with both hands. Tells you the agility of the man. Age is just a number. Adnesh Tondale gets the ball in hand to bowl the 11th over. The captain's kept it pretty simple. Either a spinner who bowls very quick will be operating from the commentary box end, or the pacer. Harish Kakani has shown and vindified the fact that he got the ball in hand. Can Adnesh provide a wicket too? Oh, that's a lovely length to be bowling. Chance of a run out of the non-striker's end. But a direct hit would have been very audacious indeed. The second run will also be complete. That's because they took the first one very quickly. Adnesh Tondale, by the time, could return to get the position to collect the ball. He didn't get a good position at all. That's another reason, Jimmy, that when a pacer is in operation, he usually goes in towards the batter in his follow-through.
Another short single here down to short third man. Devam, one of the slightly weaker players on the fielding side here, concedes a single. And that's 3 for 63 in the middle of the 11th over now. Adnesh bringing in his field for the new batsman. The new batter is Karan Viradia. Adnesh, tall, strapping, very good physique. It's so wonderful to see the youngsters here.
He's called the gentle giant at the side, isn't it? Very quiet.
That's it. It's got a delightful smile too. And here's the ball pitched up, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to pitch it up, pitch it up, pitch it up. That's all one can say, because you've got to get that batter to come forward. And with his height, you never know where that ball will take off from. So you've got to get the batter up front, forward, with very little width. And it's easy to say sitting out here, but let's see what Adnesh has for Karan Viradia. This one again, taken off the pads to short mid-wicket, a single.
It's a good ploy by Hollywood Master Blasters. They understand they've lost a wicket at the wrong time. It's never a right time.
There's never a right time, exactly.
They've lost a wicket at the time just when Ravi Timbawala is starting to get going. Believe that they can stitch a partnership together with both the batters in good form. Unfortunately for Hollywood Master Blasters, Rohit gets caught out, and that means mending work has to start to allow the new batter to play himself in. You don't want two new men at the crease if Ravi Timbawala goes for a big shot and gets himself out.
Absolutely.
Hence a lot of singles. Very athletic. Marty Kane. The world was looking towards his left hand where he usually gets the throw out of. But the right hand gets the throw in while he was diving.
Well, that's maybe something he picked up in Zimbabwe because I've not seen him doing that before.
I tell you what, he did not get the false throw in, and that has definitely saved 5 runs for San Diego Surfriders, not just a boundary. Oh, that's a good shot. The fielders have been placed so tactically here. Greg Hay has done his homework. Agnish Tondale has joined Greg Hay in his homework. A single to end the over. 11 gone, 65 for 3. '22 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Just the right time to thank our title sponsors Toyota for the 2nd year running. They've ensured that this tournament gets a global reach. Oh, that could be close. It's gone. Iftikhar, in the quietest of manners, the most nonchalant of manners, has kissed the bails as Vedant Jain's completed a wicket that any leg spinner would be mighty proud of, drawing the batter forward, enticing him to go for the big shot with a lovely guile and flight. Ravi Timbawala is departing, and this is a big blow for Hollywood Master Blasters.
So, Has, it's one of those things where you want to say, I told you so. You know, when a spinner spins the ball, puts the ball above the eye line, you have just got to see wickets fall. And I think if I were to look at how Vedant has performed in the last few games, he's been trying to focus on pushing it through very quickly. As a result, he's dropping his elbow, he's dropping his eyesight, and the ball's going short. And when it's short and a leg spinner, you've got all the time in the world to whack it wherever you want. But today he's been making them come forward, he's making them look up above the eye line, and it always gives batters the little bit of worry. So here we are.
Absolutely, Jimmy. It's a dream dismissal. And to get it right, the very first ball of the over must be a treat for Vedant Jain.
I'm sure Timmel is looking at this saying, just wait for me, young lad. And we've had Vedant come down from Hollywood, and we've seen Timmel go up. So it's good to see this little switch here.
Yeah, Timmel Patel is also a little eager to get going in this tournament with a ball in hand because he missed out on a couple of games owing to injury. Against the Tigers, the ball was struck straight into his hands. He had to, but it wasn't a catch. It's just that his athleticism made it half an opportunity. Sticks his hand out, gets hit on the fingertips. Timmel misses 2 games. That's the nature of the sport as well. It demands so much from you, and one of the things that it demands is called a comeback. Vedant would want to recalibrate his line there. Karan Radia finds himself in the middle along with Andrew.
Short outside the off stump, and a nice cut there by Karan down to point. Gets a single, so Karan's decided, you've got to keep going at it. He's not going to sit back and watch idly. So, needs to get that scoreboard ticking as Vedant Sends down the next one. Nice ball. Just short of that good length. Giving the batsman that little bit of worry whether to go forward or back. And as you can see here, Andrew taking his time, trying to assess the pitch here. Vedant Jain from the far end. Flighted up, short, turning outside the off stump, but only finding the field at backward point. Good bowling here, nice over. Vedant, 2 wickets, and it's 4 for 67 after 12. Andrew Dulwade, the youngster who's come in to join Karan Viradia. Certainly have to consolidate here, Suhas, because as you rightly pointed out, 3 wickets were gone at that time, 4 now, a couple of quick wickets, and you could be 80 for 6, and then that's very, very difficult to come out and have all your guns blazing for the last few overs. So we're into the 13th, 4 for 67. San Diego would be quite pleased, but also keep in mind, Suhas, we have been seeing quite a lot of turn in this wicket.
Someone who's played turn a lot in his life is Karan. Karan Viradia played Gujarat under 13 all the way up to under 25 back in India. Oh, this one didn't bounce as much, and it's very half-hearted from Adnesh. The appeals are supposed to be known by decibel levels, isn't it? It's the politest of appeals from Adnesh Tondale. We call him the gentle giant, but he doesn't need to be gentle while appealing.
Well, I think he was trying to win the umpire's approval with a smile, and he's got a pretty good one too. So here he is going to bowl to Andrew Dulwade.
The umpires for today.
The umpires for today are Pankaj and Bandula.
Better delivery and lovely negotiation from Andrew. You've got to look at the intent over here from 2 fresh legs. Very quick between the wickets, Karan and Andrew. Just get a feeling it's a sign of what is to come. A lot of good running between the wickets, especially with many a fielder patrolling the boundary row. A lot of real estate on the leg side too for tapping and running.
That's true, and runs are runs, whether they come in singles or fours. And here it is, steering it down to third man, and again, Devam not collecting very cleanly, a single nonetheless.
It's not the easiest place to be fielding as well, isn't it? The ball will always come to you with torque. Either
That's true, yeah.
away from you or towards you. And when it's coming towards you, it's not like you're going to stay put and let the ball arrive. Then comes the story of overrunning, Jimmy.
That's so true, Suhas. And let's see now as Tondale runs away from us. He has been asking the question. This one again. Greg Hayes, seeing that he brought Zubair in there, and Zubair slamming the ball towards the bowler, who was trying to turn around and get back and listen to what you said, cover the wickets, and landed up getting whacked on his calf. So hopefully no damage done. Another leg by, or was that a single? It was a single, yes. Pushed out there.
Yeah, we can't be given a leg by, Jimmy, if it's of Tondale's leg. Well done.
I like the way Tondale has been bowling on the stumps, and they're going to go for 2 on this one. Oh, what a throw!
That's close.
That was a brilliant throw, but it looks like Andrew was well home. But boy, to see those wickets light up from a quick pickup and throw as we end the 13th over, or we just have one more ball to go. I think we've got one more ball to go.
What a good throw indeed. Had just one stump to aim at, Jimmy, and was able to get it right. The umpire,
4 for 72 now.
The umpire, Pankaj, was in a good position to judge if it's a run out or no. And what Andrew did right is, of course, to drag the bat. That's in the air, but it's in the gap as well. Work to do for a man at deep point. Will he reach there? Eventually does, but 2 more runs completed. Just as expected, a lot of singles and twos between 2 young cricketers, Karan and Andrew. End of another tidy over. 75 for 4. So we've got this. We've got dark news. 1, 2, 3, 4 dark news. 2 dark news. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. What a game we have on our hands right now. Mending work done by Karan Vaidya and Karan Viradya and Andrew. Andrew's faced pace nicely. Now against spin would be interesting to see his prowess. That's in the air. Was almost a replica of what happened in the first over. Greg here getting two hands to it, trying to catch it the Aussie way. This time it doesn't stick. A right-hander backing away, hitting it in the air to the same fielder in the same region up against Vedant Jain's leg spinning delivery is almost a replica indeed of the first one of the wickets. Oh, that's in the gap. That'll be four. That's a beautiful shot indeed. It's one of his favorite shots as well. Karan Viradya, he's earned a lot of runs with the sweep shot back home in India. He's earned a lot of runs with the sweep shot here at the SECA tournaments. And that is exactly why he's so good at the sweep shot. There are two fielders patrolling the boundary rope, one at deep square leg, one at the cow corner. In between them, he finds the gap for four. Oh, what a comeback by Vedant Jain. It isn't spinning as much. This one wasn't about spin. It was about the quickness.
And a good length. That's what counts. The batter was out there trying to swing it over mid-wicket, totally missed the ball, and that's because of the good length. And I must applaud Vedant. He's really bowled very tight. He's given away one boundary, but other than that, 2 wickets in 2 overs, 2.5 overs here. Really bowling extremely tight, gripping the ball, and in return, the ball is gripping the wicket as he comes in to bowl to us. This one's got an air in it, and it's again pushed out there. You can see whenever he gives the ball air, he troubles. And here's Marty Kane flinging the ball in from the cover boundary. They get 2, though, and the scorecard now ticking up. It's 4 for 82 in the 14th over.
2 wickets for Vedant Jain, and he's created 3 opportunities. He loves the reserve end, Vedant Jain. This one's in the gap again. The call's for 2. Andrew wants the second one. Depends on Karan. Karan will not be going to the danger end. Andrew would be. The dive saves him, and also the fact that Vedant couldn't collect it cleanly. That was a tight second run indeed, but the intent was there to be seen. 14 overs gone, 84 for 4. Hollywood Master Blasters trying to create the launch pad with 6 wickets in hand. The IPL. Told you we're commentating on the IPL. 14 overs gone, 84 for 4. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Just the right time to thank our presenting sponsor Sunoco. It's because of them that this tournament, with all its flair, is engulfing all cricket fans in the United States of America, as it also builds new ones. Adnesh Tondale didn't get it right this time. Wants to pitch it somewhere around the middle and off region, not middle and leg. But finding inside the circle would easily be a boundary. If he strays down the leg side, Adnesh knows that. And that is what he has to learn very quickly now. The extras will come back to bite you when the thing gets down to the wire. Adnesh Tondale. It's a different bowler altogether when he bowls outside off. With that extra height he has, he generates extra bounce. And perhaps that's one of the reasons that becomes a good contender to be the Duffer News page. By picking up wickets. He loves to do that. He's someone who's played the supporting role so many times for San Diego Surf Riders. Adnesh Tondale. He's got a knack for moving parts. He's got a knack for building planes. Wouldn't want to see the ball fly, I'm pretty sure. If it does, then he would want to see no distance, only height. Can Adnesh pick up a wicket here? Oh, that's an excellent shot indeed. This is why Karan's a dangerous batter. He can get into these positions where you can't set a field and then pick and choose his areas. Jimmy, the strength of Karan is to get into good positions and open up options for himself for the existing field.
And he certainly did that out here, and time that it starts off, because we're in the 15th over, the run rate has slowed down, and we're now finally up to 90 in the 15th over. 4 for 90, couple of wickets, and it could be swinging San Diego's way, but I think the Master Blasters have different ideas. This one kicks up from a good length. It's taken off the glove, I think. Let's check for the umpire's signal. It's a single nonetheless. Nope, he's given it as a single, which means that, well, it was up in no man's land, but the ball did rise up from a good length, and that's because Tondale is well over 6 feet. He's about 6'2", 6'3", and very well built. So San Diego clearly will be looking for Karan's wicket. That doesn't mean Andrew's not to contend with, but we've got a short third man backward point, a sweeper cover, short extra cover mid-off on the offside. So he's got a very packed offside field. He'd be wanting to bowl middle and off and not give too much width. But here he is bowling to Andrew Dulwadi. Oh, that's a nice ball. Flicked down the leg side. It's again down to Sri Krishna, who chooses not to fling the ball in. San Diego's been troubled with a few overthrows, so a single nonetheless. A shout out to our San Diego sponsors, Westpac Financial, Wealth Management, MCP Gov, ProWest, Eclaro, City University, Metroflex, Cisintelli, Medicine, and Enersmart. Thank you so much for your sponsorship here. Keeps this game going in the city of San Diego. Tondale bowled the last ball, and this one is effortlessly and beautifully scooped down to deep fine leg for 4. Now, that was a really, really good shot, but nevertheless a certain amount of risk. But I think he's seeing the ball pretty well, though, Suhas. So a pretty expensive over. Got 11 runs off it here. And at the end of the 15th over, it's 4 for 96.
It's the second time he's explored the same area and succeeded. This one was more measured from Karan. Beautiful shot indeed. It's a shot that's tailor-made for this platform as well. Will prop up some doubts in the mind of the captain who's setting the field here, Greg Hay. San Diego Surf Riders so far have been successful in chipping away with the wickets. But can they pick up another? As far as Hollywood Master Blasters are concerned, this is the phase. They've got a nice little partnership brewing. They need to provide the impetus and a lovely launch pad for a crescendo finish. Both the captains were uncertain of what's a good total on this kind of a track because both of them were unsure how it will behave. Greg Hay quickly learning from his mistakes previous weekend. As soon as he won the toss, decided to bowl first. Catch it is the call. Will it carry just in front of the tall, lanky Srihari? If Hari couldn't get to it, it would be difficult to say if it had enough elevation to be called a catch in the first place. On that occasion, Hari decided to hang back. Oh, this is much better from Vedant Jain. This has a lot of venom, Jimmy, and he's listening to you. He's bowling in the area, just got the good length.
Tremendous leg spin bowling here by young Vedant Jain. And this one has gone up in the air. No, it's swept down to square leg for a single. The fact that he's got the batters hitting against the spin itself is very encouraging because that means they've really got to push for runs, and you're hitting against the spin. For a leg spinner, you really want to see the batter do that because that's where you get the outside edge, the ball balloons out, and you're gone.
Absolutely, Jimmy, and he's also making him hit against the wind too. That is one way to score runs, straight as an arrow. Karan is unfolding his array of shots. He's just showing the world, that the V region is not just behind him, but in front of him as well. This one's for the coaches. The previous one's for the magazine. This one's for the coach.
Well, that was about as straight as you could get, right over the side screen, and Karan's now looking very, very dangerous indeed. He's moved on to 32, and that brings up the 100 of the innings.
105 now.
4 for 105. Oh, this one kicked viciously, spitting off, and there's a possibility of a run out again as Andrew comes charging down the wicket. That ball was spitting outside the off stump. It even took the glove off Iftekhar. No run nonetheless, and the end of the 16th over.
105.
4 for 105 at the end of 16. 24 balls to go, and Greg turns to his dependable Harish Kakani from the tennis court end.
2 up front, 2 at the death. Harish Kakani. Now it's a game that's going according to his plan. Making early inroads. Now towards the end, I'm very sure that he wants to go for the kill. Harish Kakani is not someone who usually prefers to go the way where he could tell himself, well, let's just reduce destruction. Let's do disaster management. He's someone who wants to be at the helm of things all the time, loves to attack. That's what he did back in India. He's played a lot of cricket in Hyderabad. Was a part of the Ranji Trophy setup, the Ranji setup. He's got county experience back in England.
And Harish will be bowling to a field of a deep third man on the fence, cover point, cover mid-off, and a sweeper on the cover boundary. You got a long on, mid-wicket, and a fine leg as Harish goes in to bowl to Andrew. This one short, hit high in the air, it's down, a single bounce to Devam at fine leg. Gets a single. Andrew's gone up to 7. He's faced 13 balls, so he'd probably want to get that run rate up, and no problem whatsoever with Karan, who's 31 of 19 and looking really, really good. So I think San Diego will desperately be wanting to see his back.
Mid off it. In the shape of Tondale. Well, this one's really well bowled. Wanted to clip it away on the leg side there. Karan missed it. Doesn't get much back behind it. We'll wait for the umpire signal though.
He did signal a leg by, I believe.
Yes, did signal a leg by. I was going to talk to you, Jimmy, about Agnesh Tondale, who's mid-off, but not the regular mid-off, is slightly wider.
Slightly wide, yeah.
Is it because Harish Kakani, who loves to target the stumps, is telling the batter, create your own room?
Well, there he goes. He does create his room, and boy, what a shot that is. Off the back foot, smacking it down. Will it be stopped?
No.
No, it wasn't. Into the ropes. A valiant attempt there by Zubair. 4 runs. Talk about making room. This was beautifully bowled. It was actually a middle and off, and the way in which Andrew pulled himself back and smacked it off the back foot for 4. That was really a pretty shot. So here's Andrew now trying to catch up on the run rate as he takes on Harish Kakani from the tennis court end outside the off stump here, and lifted high again over that cover point down to a very busy Zubair. There's going to be 2 runs in it nonetheless. Well, absolutely no choice now, Suhas. They've got to go for it, and sure are. You've got to pick this up to at least about 10 to 12 runs and over at this stage, otherwise it's not going to be a very impressive score. This is a small ground. San Diego fielders chirping away, trying to encourage and push their bowlers over the top for the last 3.5 overs as Harish Kakani goes away from us. Oh, this one's bat and pad, a little bit of a mess up here again. Andrew very excited to get to the other end, comes halfway down and decides to turn and go back. So good comeback from Harish as he will bowl the last ball of the 17th over. So 18 balls to go after this, so 19 as it stands. What are we looking at? current run rate projects out 136, but I think the Master Blasters would clearly be looking at 150, Suhas. Otherwise, this is going to be a pretty tough number to hold on to.
Absolutely, Jimmy. But the way the wicket's behaving, it's not very bad for batting. There have been spots that have been a spot of concern for the batters. That's hit slapped straight down the ground, but Adnesh from mid-off will get onto it, and will do so very quickly. So only a single would be taken. Harish Kakani's completed another successful in a tidy over despite the boundary being given away. He knows that towards the end the script changes. 17 overs gone, 114 for 4, Hollywood Master Blasters. Marty Kane in the love affair with the reserve end. That shall continue. He's troubled the informed Rohit. Now with the batters coming after him, this would be nice spiced up contest, Jimmy.
Can't wait to see it, Suhas. Marty is a wily old fox. You can guarantee he's going to give the batters something to think about. But now's a point where you've got 6 wickets in the shed and you've really got to go for it. So let's see how young Andrew takes on the wily Marty Kane. This one is moving back, making room, hitting it over the head of the bowler to deep long off for a single. So that's the way Andrew's decided. He's going to go back and he's going to wait for the ball and take his time.
Now Karan would be looking to go for the big shot. One of his favourite areas, straight down the ground. Marty Kane would love to slow it down. Slightly on the shorter side, a poor delivery, put away behind square for 4. No chance for Adnesh. Tried his best with his outstretched arms, but even a tall Adnesh could not get to it. 50 runs partnership between these two. Just tells you how well the youngsters have done the mending work here. Karan and Andrew would be mighty proud of this. This is something that Hollywood Master Blasters were talking before this game as well. The lack of partnerships. Would this be taken? No, once again decides to hang back. I'm very surprised, Jimmy, with this effort from Sri Krishna. Just got a feeling that
you've got to go for it. You've got to go for it at this stage. You know, you've got to get that wicket for a couple that's been in there and over 50 runs. You've got to try and break the partnership. Oh, that's a good ball, and that could have been a possible stumping. That ball from outside leg stump, turning viciously, beating even the keeper. So it's a bye, or another run nonetheless. But I'm not sure if that was a possible stumping, because he did take a big swipe at it. It's a question of whether his leg was up or not, but didn't matter because the wicketkeeper didn't collect the ball.
But there was some ball watching that Andrew was engulfed in. This could be taken. Zubair in the tee, puts it down, and rubbing salt on the wound. The ball also goes for 4. What should have been a wicket has converted itself into a boundary. You could sense that Karan was not very happy with the way he hit that shot. He knew immediately that he might be asked to walk to the pavilion. Now
that's very, very dejecting for the bowler, because Marty could very well have had the back of a very, very well set batter, but not to be. And here it goes again, totally beating the bat. Wicketkeeper takes off the bails, but the right foot.
18 overs, right?
Yeah, the right foot of Karan was planted in there. 18 overs done.
25.
125 for 4. A good comeback here from the Master Blasters.
25 runs away from a psychological total of 150. 12 balls to maximize themselves to 150 and beyond. Harish Kakani would be bowling the penultimate over. Marty Kane would be feeling robbed of a wicket there. Zubair, 9 out of 10 times would have taken it. It's a regulation catch. Went to take it the Aussie way. Right through his hands. And bouncing just before the boundary rope. This tells you how much ground he had to cover behind him as well. He could have gone easily and taken it on the chest. Oh, good delivery. Wonderful delivery. And Iftikhar as well, sensing that it's the penultimate over, he's already taken a glove off. Ready to get the throw in, Jimmy.
I like that slower ball, and in fact, in the last couple of overs, that's what you need to be doing, Suhas. Slowing the ball down, bowling those cutters, not going for the crazy dig it in, because this pitch is pretty slow, and when you dig it in, you give the batter all the time in the world to lean back and have a go at it. So smart bowling here from Harish.
Is this a slower delivery of the Yorker? Two deliveries that he's been practicing for a while. He's gone with a slower delivery. Would Adnesh get to it?
And I like the effort here. Adnesh flinging himself. He didn't wait for the ball to bounce. He threw himself full length and conceded a single, but I think the single was there anyway. It was backed up there by Nikhil Datta. Very good attempt there by Adnesh Tandale.
Andrew is disappointed with himself. He went at it with half-hearted. He went at it with a half an heart, you could say. I would have thrown his bat at it otherwise. That's the reason Adnesh also found himself in the equation for a bit. Could have taken the catch. Had it hung in there just a bit. Would this be taken? Softest of appeals and straight into the hands of Greg Hay, the skipper at point. When was the last time you saw a shot which was played to point, but the shot was being intended to play on the leg side?
Well, that's called the outer edge, Suhas. He had made the stroke, and that's what happens when the ball is a little slower. You've completed the shot, and you've gone for a shot over mid-wicket, except the bat has gone right past, and the ball slowing down thanks to a very disguised slower ball from Harish. So you're getting almost like the back of the bat. More than the side, it was the back of the bat, and that's again because he had completed his shot before the ball showed up. So, yes. Good catch there by Greg Hay.
Accumulated so many runs from the front of the bat. One shot that he attempts from the back, that causes his demise. But what a good innings from Karan. Gets a start, builds a partnership with Andrew, gets his team going. Hamad will walk out to bat now. Hamad Shahid, known for big hitting, loves to clear the front leg, swing his bat, especially through the mid-wicket region. I'm very surprised that there isn't anybody in the mid-wicket guarding the boundary rope, that is deep mid-wicket.
Yeah, that's true. Harish is going to have to keep this ball on the offside, and quite in tune with what you just said. He's gone and posted Vedat Jain right on the mid-wicket boundary. So Hamad is a very big man, and he can clear the fence pretty easily, but let's see what he has to play with. He's got about 9 balls, assuming he can get most of the strikes. So Andrew's been pretty sedate, 15 of 19. This one is short outside the leg stump, should be called a wide.
Harvish Kakani could not believe it. He turned very nonchalantly to bowl the second one, only to realize the first one isn't counted. The umpire's arms were eventually spreading. Hamad is walking down the pitch to inspect the area that it pitched on. Hamad Shahid, nicely built, very vertically placed. He's got a lovely pair of hands, long levers and a sledgehammer for a bat in hand. Loves to go straight down the ground and towards the mid-wicket region. Can Harish keep him out of those two areas? He's called it. The throw was at the striker's end because there was no one backing up at the non-striker's end, but I genuinely felt there was more of an opportunity at the non-strikers.
And I think Marty Kane saw that. In fact, he pointed that there was nobody at the bowler's end to retrieve it, and smart thinking on Marty's point, because there is absolutely no one backing up, and if the bowler was not behind the stumps, that's a giveaway, 1 or maybe even 2 overthrows. So smart thinking. That's very, very good, calm thinking.
Jimmy, Harish has already picked up 3 in search of his 4th.
Oh, he's really banged that one in, and I think we're going to have to see that bowled again. That was a no ball. Yep, that has been called a no ball, above the shoulder. Well above the head, actually. I think if we had an opportunity here, it's a free hit. Way over the head. You could see Harish really banging that ball in.
Very surprisingly, Hamad, who's at the non-strikers and is tallest of the lot, he is signalling that to be so high.
Now, this is not what you want to be doing in the 19th over. This is where you want to be bowling slower balls outside the off stump. You don't want to be banging it in.
Mind you, third man's inside the circle. How wide can he bowl is another question. He's still...
Slower ball, and that's what it takes. Suhas, I think, if you really think of the really good death bowlers, notice the number of slower balls and notice the number of Yorkers. And we've seen neither. We saw one slower ball just now, and it really showed. So Harish is going to have to, think through what he's doing, take his time. There's just about 7 balls to go.
The final delivery from Harish Kakani. Was it going to be a slow ball? Is it going to be a Yorker? Very sure it's not going to go with the shorter stuff. Andrew is quite content, guiding it straight to third man inside the circle and picking up a single. It's about farming the strike. He's a little upset by the fact that he's hit it straight to the man and not on either side of him. End of 19, 130 for 5. Now I need to get this out of the way. I need to get this out of the way, right? Yeah, try it out of the way. I need to get Daphne's out of the way. Daphne's we've done 2. Give me the figures of Harish, please. This country, 4 overs, 27 wickets. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Hollywood Master Blasters were asked to bat first and they've managed 19 overs, 130 for 5. Marty Kane would be bowling the final over. I'll tell you what, Jimmy, it's also an optical illusion because of the slope down there. The fielders are long on and long off are running in from the reserve end, and that means they've got to put that extra bit to try and make it a catch.
That's right, although this one was a good 10 yards in front of the fielder. But there have been a couple of times when I felt that the fielder, particularly Sri Krishna, tall lad, should have made an attempt to dive forward. You're not going to get someone out with a half-hearted attempt. You've got to go all the way. So here's Hamad taking on 5 more balls. Marty Kane from the far end.
Marty Kane's got a packed leg side field on the boundary rope. And he's generated a dot ball to a mammoth of a man in the final over when he's got all the licenses to go for the big shot. What a priceless delivery this is for San Diego Surf Riders. Marty Kane's making his presence felt ever since made a comeback. He's made a comeback. 2 dot balls strung together. Hamad wanting to launch it over the skies. Hamad didn't want to see that piece of leather ever again. Would you believe it? What a fantastic delivery. Once again, he's slowing it down. He's got the heart to slow it down, Jimmy. Marty Kane knows the exact speed to bowl at.
Yeah, and Suhas, you've got to give it to Greg Hay for having confidence in a left-arm spinner in the last 6 balls, and Marty hasn't let him down, at least so far.
A flying Marty towards his left will only watch the ball go by. Long off will ensure it's only a single. A single is a plenty as far as San Diego Surf Riders are concerned. It's not something that's going to pinch them. It's the final over. It's a game of momentum, Jimmy. Momentum with San Diego Surf Riders so far.
And the last ball of the innings here, and let's see what Andrew has. He's clearly going to be looking to take this one out of the ground. Well, what else can he do? He really has to give it a heave-ho.
Marty Kane has picked up a wicket, of course.
Could have had 2, quite honestly. That was a pretty straightforward regulation catch by Zubair.
That would have put him as a good contender, would have made a good contender to be on the front page of Duffer News. What a comeback with 3 wickets. Duffer News, our official sponsor. Not just cricket, you could find every sport there, almost every sport that you love will be there on Duffer News. The final delivery.
They're probably going to go for 2. Sri Krishna's not the fastest of fielders, and here he is flinging it back, and 2 runs it is. So that's the end of that Master Blaster innings. 134 will leave San Diego, a measurable 135. I think it's possible. It's not certainly something to be, concerned about. However, as we all know, there are 10 batters. And in the chase of 130 some, it's quite possible that, a couple of quick wickets. So we'll be leaving you here with a very engaging first innings. Good batting from a few. Particularly started off with Rohit Ramkumar was looking very, very good, and just that slight change when he went back and smacked one and found an unbelievable soccer goalkeeper in skipper Greg Hay. Wouldn't have expected that. And then, of course, the other highlight was a wonderful, well-paced innings by Karan Baradia. He was on the ball. When he hit those sixes, they were way out of the park, and he was ably assisted by Andrew Durwade, who wasn't the fastest of scorers, but the fact is he stood by and helped them get a partnership in excess of 50 at a time, Suhas, when a couple of wickets could have put the Master Blasters in a very, very precarious position.
Absolutely, Jimmy. That's the difference between 135 and 100. It was the cool, calm head of Karan and Andrew put together a 50 partnership at a time when they needed it the most. 135 is the magical number the San Diego Surf Riders would be after. In a while, would be back with the run chase. 2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Hollywood Master Blasters, after being asked to bat, got 134. Now San Diego Surf Riders with a reply, 9 for 1 in first in 1 over. Tipil Patel getting the ball the first over, picking up a wicket. Vindifying the decision of the captain to have thrown it to him.
Again, not the best start for San Diego, but as we said a few minutes ago, Suhas, which may not have carried through, I understand the mics were not working. So it's one of those things where Sri Krishna playing a couple of really aggressive strokes, straight ball, top spin, leaning back, and trying to cut. And that's exactly how he got out last week. So, it's one of those things where you say, you do it once, not so good. You do it twice, I won't say the rest. Hamad bowling from the tennis court end, and he'll be bowling to Greg Hay, the captain. This one is nicely flicked off his hips down to fine leg. They'll have an easy single out there, and Greg's off the mark.
Greg Hay, someone who's remained not out for the entire weekend. Scored a terrific century, then followed it up with another good half century.
Right, 155 without being dismissed last weekend, and the previous weekend he had a good 70 plus. So in the last 3 innings he's averaged about 220 some. So of course San Diego will be happy with half of that.
Greg Hay, a complete team man. I've asked him at the end of the game, must be mighty pleased with your effort. At least he said, as long as the team's not going over the line, those runs don't matter to me. Big appeal. But it's one of those things in our game where the appeal might be as loud as it can get, but it's got to hit the stumps is what the umpire should feel. That one was, with the extra height that Hamad has as well, was definitely going over the top. Might have even missed leg.
And even missed leg, if I could say so here. But, sometimes it's the exuberance of the bowler and the sound, but the umpire, Pankaj here, very, very reserved, didn't have anything to do with it. So Hamad it will be from the tennis court end. The field is a third man on the fence, a backward point, cover point, a cover and a mid-off. And Hamad's asked to go back and bowl this again. Batter wasn't ready. So on the leg side you've got a mid-on, short mid-wicket, short square leg right next to the umpire, and a fine leg right on the fence. So Greg Hay it is taking on Hamad. And this one he keeps all along the ground. You could see him rolling his hands, and it's probably going to go for 4. Yes, it is. The amazing thing about Greg is the perfection with which he hits the ball. This was copybook cricket. Short ball, he took his time, he rolled his wrists, kept the ball down, and not only did he keep it down, but he hit it exactly between fine leg and mid-wicket. So good thinking here.
He's got the power as well for a man to be choosing where exactly he wants to hit it. He's got these lovely wrists too, very quick wrists indeed. The umpire wanted to have a quick inspection of the ball before it landed up in Hamad's hands for the next delivery. Greg Hayes got lovely wrists, we'll be talking about that. One of the swiftest hands in our game that we've seen comes from the land of New Zealand. Brendan McCullum seems to have borrowed a leaf out of his book with that shot. And as you rightly mentioned, Jimmy, no intention of hitting it up in the air. He understands the importance of his wicket at this juncture.
I guess that's what experience is all about, Suhas. He's a very mature player, very dapper. You can see him with a very, very clean stance. He hits the ball very clean. And here he is taking on big man Hamad. This one again short. This a slower ball on the middle and leg stump. I saw a little puff of dust pick up again, so I wonder whether that's any sign of the condition of the wicket, but by and large it played okay on the first innings.
Greg Hay immediately walking down to that area where it pitched and inspecting the area, tapping the surface, perhaps telling it don't misbehave.
The right thing to do at this stage, which is what Greg is doing, is getting his body behind and and then pushing with soft hands. So he was able to negate that. And here he is coming down the line, driving and on the rise. Effortless single. Clearly this was premeditated. He was down the wicket before the bowler delivered, and that just gives the bowler a little bit more let's say concern as to where to pitch the ball. So end of the second over, 1 for 16, San Diego. Timur Patel again to resume operations from the far end, the reserve end. And this one has been swept and swept beautifully by Greg Hay. Effortless shot and very, very clean. 4 runs, and Greg is quickly up to 9 of 5 deliveries. He's had 2 fours in them, and San Diego in the middle of the third are 1 for 20. Trying to chip away very quickly and take advantage of this power play. You got to keep your eyes on the ball, and I think that's what unfortunately Sri Krishna didn't, and had to troop back rather upset. And here it is again, Greg going for that sweep against the spin, not connecting this time, but he's made up his mind he's going to sweep the ball.
Leading edge, but doesn't carry. Would have had his heart in his mouth there. Greg understands the importance of his wicket. For his side, he's been one of the main contributors with a bat in hand, whether while chasing or while trying to set a target. This one then bounces much. This could be trouble. Up goes the finger. The big fish is in the net. Hollywood Master Blasters celebrate. And why wouldn't they, as Greg Hay will have to trudge back to the pavilion. One sweep shot too many. To a ball that didn't bounce as much and was straight enough with a man who's skidding it through.
Yes, Suhas, I think what we've seen in both the dismissals are the top spinner, and that you've got to give credit to the bowler. He's able to turn the ball viciously with his leg break. He slipped in this top spinner or flipper, and he even has a very, very deceptive googly. So I think all marks to Timel in this case. Greg was sweeping, looking for that turn which didn't exist. And in return, of course, he has 2 now. In San Diego, 2 for 20, as we see Nikhil Datta walking out. But that's a big, big, big wicket for the Master Blasters.
Nikhil Datta has got to assume more responsibility now that for the first time in a while, first time at least in the San Diego Surf Riders home ground, Nikhil Datta is going to be out there without his captain. Someone who's got international caliber and experience, played for Canada. He knows what to do, but over here he needs to bail his team out of a situation. 135 is not daunting, Jimmy. 135 is a matter of 2 good partnerships.
Well, all it took was 1 really good partnership from the Master Blasters that got them to that 135 or 134. And San Diego will be looking for at least 1 or maybe more 50-run partnership. This one is again a googly coming in with a very sharp turn. And Nikhil, I think, read it well. He took his time. He went back, pushed it back along the ground, and waits for the next one from Timel.
I like this. Cody Chetty has awarded himself to be the slip for Timel. The confidence that he's giving to his bowlers. It's such a treat to watch.
Very, very good over. Very impressive. San Diego at 2 for 20. Hamad Shahid it is from the tennis court end, and he'll be bowling to the wicketkeeper batsman here, Iftikhar. Hamad actually used to play in the San Diego Cricket Club team, so he's a former local boy, and I think he knows this ground pretty well, as he's a really big chap. Comes and bowls this one, push down the wicket and probably get an easy single as it goes to mid-on, coming in from His left picks up a single nonetheless, and that gets Iftikhar off the mark. 2 for 21, San Diego chasing 135. Excellent partnership there from Karan and Andrew. Got the Master Blasters. And here's Hamad. This time to Nikhil Datta. This one's flicked off his pads. They'll get one. They probably turn for a second. No, they don't. They just want to take it easy here. And a good throw comes in. So Nikhil also off the mark now. This is where innings have to be built to us.
Absolutely,
you have to understand you've lost 2 wickets, one of them being your captain. And while there are good batters in the shed, this is where you've got to get that 40-50 runs as Hamad abandons his attempt to bowl the next delivery. Umpire Pankaj signals a dead ball, and here we go again. It's 2 for 22, San Diego. The match very evenly poised at this stage.
Jimmy, what I'm interested in seeing now that Greg Hayes back in the hut is how Iftikhar and Nikhil time their aggression to try and maximize the first 6 overs, the first power play. Would they be able to do that with such aplomb? Well, that's a very good Yorker. Puff of dust kicking up as well as the ball lands. That's one delivery which you don't have to worry about the surface at all for, if you get it right.
That's right. You probably have the dust in the batter's eye before the ball comes in, but no, the wickets played okay. I certainly wouldn't say that the score, the lack of a bigger score was because of the wicket. I think it was good bowling. The San Diego spinners bowled exceedingly well, particularly Vedant Jain and Marty. And this one's again taken off his toes down to mid-on. No run. That was a more confident-looking stroke from Iftikhar.
Straight to
2 for
Basant's
22 in the 4th. And the Master Blasters have a good spinning attack as well, Suhas. So I think we're going to see a lot of spin in this game.
Timil's already made a case for the spinners to be operating. You could see Basant Rekmil loosening his arms. Might be seeing him in action. Usually operates in the middle overs. Iftikhar wanted the single, but it's gone straight to the fielder. Nikhil wanted no run there. Hamad's bowled well. First, the Yorker is followed it up with good deliveries. Hamad's got that extra height as well to generate that extra bounce. Would have carefully watched what San Diego Surf Riders did, especially the pacers in Harish Kakani and Adnesh Tondale when they were operating from the same end, the tennis court end.
I'd like to see a lot more slower balls, and Hamad has delivered a couple of them and totally foxed the batters. And this one's lifted high over the head of Timil and should be racing along to the mid-off boundary for 4. Iftikhar taking his time, timing it well. And this is the first boundary after at least a couple of overs. So nice way to end the over for San Diego. 2 for 26 with Iftikhar on 5 and Nikhil on 1. Hamad, having bowled his 2 overs, has conceded 12 runs. Timil 2 overs, 2 for 13.
A 109 required in 16 overs. That's the equation. San Diego Surf Riders 26 for 2. The required run rate is 6.81, which isn't running away from what is gettable. But we will see change in bowling after 2 good overs from Timil Patel. To follow it up from the reserve end. It's going to be Karan Viradia. Karan Viradia, of course, the off spinner. Karan's not bowled much back in India, mind you. He was a specialist batter, the middle order batter, bailing his team out of many a poor situation, especially while batting for Gujarat. He's converted himself into a bowling all-rounder after he's travelled overseas. Now for Hollywood Master Blasters is emerging as one of the best off spinners. Nikhil Datta ensuring that he gets a single first ball, and that's the right thing to do. If the car is looking good after that lovely boundary, got the elevation, no half measures, inside out, chip over the infield, 4-4. There are two ways of chipping a ball, isn't it? One is not with conviction, one with conviction. He's someone who does the latter really well. Iftikhar, and a little old-fashioned. He'd ensure that he puts his hand out to every fielder to make sure that he engraves in his mind what exactly the field is. Once again, his favourite stroke, inside out, into the gap. What happens with the dive is done really well. That was going for 4 most of the time. Iftikhar already stopped running. He was tottering to the other end, Jimmy, when he realized the dive was done to perfection and the boundary has been stopped.
And that, Suhas, is a sign of a little lack of experience here. You've got to run those first couple of runs really hard, really fast. You never know. And here's Iftikhar stretching forward, the ball turning in from outside the off stump. Draws his bat away, gets it probably in the middle of his stomach, but certainly saw that ball spitting, which is, of course, a great thing for the bowler as he prepares to come in. Karan Viradia. And this one again, Iftikhar making room to cut, and again, not the easiest ball to hit. The ball coming in, and he's leaning back, trying to get that ball through the offside, which is pretty packed.
You've just seen on your screens that Iftikhar is talking to himself as well after he played that shot. Catch it is a call. Well, that self-talk hasn't helped. It's the bowler who has the last laugh. Karan slowing it down, enticing Iftikhar to go inside out once again. Couldn't hold on to the nerve there. Wanted to play his favourite stroke. Perishes in the bargain. This is a huge wicket. San Diego Surf Riders, just when things were going right for them with a boundary early on, achieved the over. They've lost Iftikhar, the man who manufactured a good shot.
That's absolutely right, Suhas. I think Iftikhar will be kicking himself, and I know he talked to himself, but didn't do much. This is where experience is going to matter, and coming to the wicket at this stage is the experienced Marty Kane. San Diego certainly on the back foot here. Would have liked to have had, say, 30 runs, perhaps with maximum 1 batter down, but instead they see 3 of them, top 3, back in the pavilion. Marty Kane, so this is going to be an interesting thing. 1, you've got a good batter in Marty. Number 2, you've got a left-right combination. So let's see if that helps San Diego. They'll be looking for any help at this stage because chasing a rather modest 134 with 3 batters gone, and we're already in the 5th over.
Hollywood Master Blasters would be mighty pleased with the spinners. They've turned up. Boy, have they turned up. They've ensured that the engine room of San Diego Surf Riders is already strapped back to the pavilion. Marty Kane coming into this game from national duty. Would be itchy to get some runs. He got to bat a couple of times in the Namibia tour. He's getting good starts, Jimmy. He wants to be cheeky first ball. This could be close. This is very close indeed. The finger that matters has stayed down.
Now that's a pretty cheeky thing to do on the very first ball. Marty looking for a reverse sweep, and there was a lot of enthusiasm in that appeal, but umpire Bandala was absolutely not moved. He just stood like a rock, and Marty's probably heaving a huge sigh of relief. So end of the 5th, San Diego at 29 for 3. Certainly, as I said, grasping now to try and put together a good partnership.
Would have had his heart in his mouth. Marty Kane, who's walked in with all the swagger, would have wanted to play a shot which was coming from the middle of the bat. Instead chooses something very unorthodox, misses it completely. That was a very close call indeed. Imagine getting another wicket there. Hollywood Master Blasters. The spinners have learnt the script right. It's time for pacers to step up too. Young Ayan Desai. He's got a ball in hand from the tennis court end. That doubles up as a commentary box end too. Ayan Desai, whom you've seen a lot of. Jimmy?
Yes, Ian was a surf rider in the first season, and he's got a beautiful action, lovely left arm. He's got tremendous nip, and when he hits that seam, he can really, really get that ball to move, and he angles it. Very, very good and promising young man. So we're going to watch Ian bowling from the tennis court end to Nikhil Dutta. First one is short, moving away from him. A quick single. This could be dangerous, but not picked up cleanly.
It's a good single to have taken at the end of the day. Nikhil Dutta has decided to play the anchor's role over here. He doesn't want to waste any time. One thing that would have been talked about in San Diego Surf Riders camp after the Houston tour especially is the number of dot balls. Would want to convert those dot balls into at least a single.
And I thought the Master Blasters did a very good job at that, Suhas. I noticed the ball going within the circle to short third man to point, and they were off to the races. They were getting that quick run, and that's because the non-striker was giving a very, very good start. And I think that's what made the difference in so many of those runs. And they chose the fielders. They went to people like Sri Krishna or Devam, and were very quick to steal those singles. I think that got them at least about 8 or 10 runs. That could make a difference at this stage.
And two fresh legs as well at that time, especially in Karan's and Andrews. Both Karan and Andrew were just a treat to watch, the way they held the innings together when the chips were down. That's what got them the stability and respectability. Hollywood Master Blasters eventually getting to 134, and they've almost made a game out of this by sending San Diego Surf Riders' engine room back in the hut. But they need to continue to chip away with the wickets. That's a beautiful shot. That's a glorious shot indeed through covers. That'll be the first boundary for Marty Kane. In fact, first runs for Marty Kane for San Diego Surf Riders. It's been something that the Surf Riders have been waiting for a long, long time.
They sure have. And Marty did come out and bowl beautifully, particularly that last over, Suhas, where he had the first 5 balls, had given 1 run, and I think the last ball could have had a single as well, but sloppy fielding gave it away for 2. Soft hands this time by Marty as the ball comes in to him from outside the off stump, a left arm angling into him to a left-handed batsman, and he just pushed it down. So that's good, sensible cricket. He's got a 4, 5 runs off this over. The run rate is not that difficult. It's 7.16 at this stage, but San Diego definitely want to consolidate and put in another 40-50 runs at least on this wicket.
You're going to love the intent from Ayan after being hit away for a boundary. Comes back with such a good delivery, targeting the stumps. But the fact is that he's trying to bowl quicker, and he's giving it away by doing so. Marty Kane, quite sensible, understands that a boundary has been achieved in the over, is quite content with a single, wants to rotate the strike as well. You do not want Nikhil Dutta to be starving of strike.
And that brings the chase now down to exactly 100 off 85 balls. So still in the hunt there. It's a question of holding on to your wickets. Ooh, that one went well over his head, and let's see if that's going to be called a wide. Yes, it is.
Well directed, but that extra bounce, you got to feel for the young man, Ayan. Did everything right. Wanted to get the former international from Canada by surprise. Well, he did surprise Nikhil Dutta, who's standing to his full height.
You don't expect that type of bounce from a relatively short Ayan, but as I said, he's a very, very enthusiastic bowler, and he runs in hard.
He's got the physique
And
to be
this
a
one
lovely
is
bowler
again
as well.
coming in from outside the leg stump towards middle and off, and just push back with soft hands. So the end of the 6th over now, 3 for 36. So San Diego completing the power play, 3 for 36.
2022 Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. At the end of the first power play, San Diego Surf Riders have lost 3 wickets, couple more for their liking. Would have expected to be amongst the runs and only perhaps lose 1 wicket at the end of 6. 36 for 3 at the moment. They were 35 for 2 Hollywood Master Blasters at the end of 6 overs. And San Diego Surf Riders right about there, but having lost an additional wicket. Just the right time to thank our official sponsors. Duff News, covering not just cricket but giving the exposure to youngsters by writing lovely articles about them whenever they pick up wickets to remember for a long time, or score runs for a winning cause as well. I remember reading about Sai Mukamalla initially as this tournament began, and just told myself that is the kind of exposure that every youngster is looking for. And Duff News is definitely providing that. So big thank you to them. Inside out as he drives it to long off. Timil Patel's been posted at long off. Usually you see the tallest of men patrolling the long on and long off region. Now for Nikhil Datta. Hollywood Master Blasters know that it doesn't really matter if it's a long boundary on the leg side. Nikhil will fancy his chances. Hence, two men patrolling the deep on the leg side. Man at cow corner. Man just in front of square in the deep. Karan will continue with his off spinners. Oh, that's a good delivery, Jimmy.
Turned a lot there, Suhas, and also came above the waist height, so he's getting turn and bounce, and this is going to be a spinner's day. It's either, you take a hold of them and steal singles and twos, but it's going to be a spinner's day for sure.
And Nikhil Datta playing watchfully. He's got to tell himself that the boundaries will come. If he stays there in the middle, the boundaries will come. It's about playing a longer innings here for Nikhil Datta. Off late, he was playing with the captain and hence had to bat differently. Had to bat with a different gear. Today, 37 for 3. The scorecard that he's inherited is not something that he'll be very proud of. A lot of mending work to do.
And I'm sure an off spinner would love to be bowling to a left-hander, which he is at this stage with a slip. And here's Marty looking around, taking a single, probably going for two. No, Marty is very quick, but Nikhil is not. You've got to have both batters at the same speed there, Suhas, otherwise you're going to be looking at possible runouts here.
Yeah, one of them thought there is a second run to be taken. Marty was better to call because he knew how hard he's hit it. Nikhil Datta said, well, you might be quick, my friend. I cannot get to the other end despite a dive that I've calculated in my mind. Jimmy, some more flight would be a treat to watch indeed. This tap and run is turning into a phenomenon of its own. It's such a treat to watch this one too. Gentlest of taps. The ball goes nowhere. The keeper himself had to go and collect it. Ravi Timbawala. Imagine not even the square leg inside the circle getting to it. Timbawala getting there and hence a single complete because no one was backing the striker's end.
Yeah, this is where those soft hands will work, but you've got to have soft hands and legs like a hare.
Oof, good one.
And here's Marty being beaten comprehensively outside the off stump. Timbawala whips off the bails. Marty was well in there though. And end of over number 7, San Diego inching up 3 for 40.
Superb.
It's going well. This we need how much? Duff News. Duff News. Seven was gone. 40 for 3. 95 required. With 7 wickets in hand. 95 of 78 balls, the equation for San Diego Surf Riders if they want 2 more points against their name. Hollywood Master Blasters, who were itchy for a win, would believe they've got this under control after sending the engine room of San Diego Surf Riders back in the hut for paltry amount. Interestingly, Timil's got a couple of more overs left up his sleeve and would be very interested in seeing how Cody wants to use him. Basant Regni's another spinner that's waiting in the ranks. Not in the ranks, rather, is waiting to get going. Once he gets the ball in hand, he would be expecting to get a ball in hand when he's been asked from the reserve end to provide his services. Or do you feel a spinner would also put his hand up to bowl from the commentary box in?
I think anyone would want to put their hands up because I've noticed in the last few minutes the wicket is being a little unpredictable. The previous ball, for example, came about shin height. And that's not something a batter wants to look at. Outside the off stump and going for a wild cut. Again, if I may repeat here, Suhas, the ability to bowl slower balls. That was a slower ball, and the batter's gone for it, missed it totally. So you've got to mix it up. I mean, cricket is not a game where you can send the same old, same old.
Totally,
and see,
Jimmy.
that's why, if you notice the off spinner, Karan Baradia, Timmal as a leg spinner, it's not just turning the same ball the same way. It's varying line, varying length. As the next one is a quick push down the wicket, and Nickel looking for a single. This time it was Marty who says no. So 3 dot balls.
Absolutely, Jimmy. You talked about the change in pace. Yeah, I think the game, especially the T20 format, has evolved in such a way that the pacers are learning to bowl slower, the spinners are learning to bowl quicker.
Well, 2020's turned the game on its head, hasn't it?
Jimmy, once upon a time, used to say, let's do the dance. It's the 4-row. It's a 4-day format. Let's do the dance to play the fast bowling. And the dance is, to everyone listening, that's another quick run. It's a direct hit. This could be tight. It's gone. Marty's gone.
That is an absolute shocker, but what a fantastic throw. Now, Marty actually has gone and retrieved the ball, believe it or not. It was down at fine leg. He is so upset. He's probably heading off in the wrong direction. He was heading off towards the reserve. But this is about the biggest blow, to have Greg Hay and Marty Kane, both Kiwis, back in the shed, and you've got just 40 runs on the board. Big trouble here for the Surf Riders.
San Diego Surf Riders losing Marty Kane in the worst possible manner. Nikhil Datta could not believe he's stunned at the non-striker's end. This is exactly the wicket that Hollywood Master Blasters needed. That will provide the impetus, will keep them in the hunt. The little partnership brewing between the two has come to an end. And Marty's departure would mean it's time for Harish Kakani to walk to the middle. A lot of experience with a bat in hand, Harish Kakani. We've talked about the fact that he played county cricket and scored a lot of runs, especially that half century in a rain-curtailed game where the spinners were darting the ball. The ball was skidding through. The pacers, with so much grass on the wicket, were getting such good lateral movement that you could never pick the initial line, but had to wait for the ball to do its thing after pitching. Just tells you that he's someone who's proven that he has watertight technique. Today he's got to deploy that. His team is in trouble.
Absolutely
Jimmy.
right. In fact, Harish is one of the technically sound batters of the San Diego Surf Riders. It's really time for him to come good, and perhaps today is the time. Well, let's see what he has, because that was an absolute shocker for San Diego. They're still probably gasping for breath right here. And here's the first ball, slower, played with very firm down to mid-on. No run, so that was at least a sound of really good bat on ball. Nikhil Datta really leaning on his bat. Cannot believe he just got Marty Kane. But I wouldn't say it was Nikhil's fault. That was a beautiful throw. It was a fantastic throw. Marty is usually very, very fast. Short outside the off stump, and that's going to be called not a wide because it was over the shoulder, but doesn't have to worry. A really good over, and that in fact was a maiden. 4 for 40, San Diego now on the ropes, I'd say, Suhas.
Oh, what a terrific over from young Ayan. Got hit for runs in the first one, comes back with a maiden over. It's the dot balls that he bowled prior to the one that eventually inflicted the run out, where the batters felt the pinch to go for a single. Just tells you that there's so much that the bowler has to be thanked for if you're Cody Chetty. Cody Chetty. Yeah, the captain's done really well. You've got to love the field setting. The way he listens to the bowlers whenever they have a change in plan in between the overs. He's not someone who's tied down by the pressure of time, as so many captains would say, just rush through the over. We will talk in between the overs. Someone who's always ready for his teammates.
A lot depending on these two batters here. Both very, very experienced, and both capable of putting on that elusive 50 to 60 runs. Let's see what happens. Here's it high in the swipe down there to deep mid-on, a single. That was a heave-ho from Nikhil Datta. I wonder whether he is a little bit disgusted with himself at this stage, but he really needs to to get his composure back. He's a very, very good batter. He's had some good batting knocks for the Surf Riders. And here is Harish Kakani.
How good
Certainly
was he?
wants to prove himself today.
Now, Harish Kakani, he's someone who's searching for a good innings under his belt. Nikhil Datta did get a good innings against East Bay Blazers. Almost got his team home. And today would want to change the words from almost to definitely got his team home.
Well, Harish has already done well with the ball. Suhas, he picked up 3 wickets in the Master Blasters innings. So probably want to ride his luck in the batting side as well.
3 wickets with the ball in hand. But that's gone up in the air, but will land safely. That was high up in the air, enough to get the fielders around him excited. Enough to have Harish Kakani look back and make his eyes go agog. Enough to get the umpires interested. Oh, beautiful shot. This was right in his zone. Harish Kakani needed something to free his arms, and this one will scream through covers. Inside out, Harish Kakani off the mark. He's picked up 3 important wickets for his side. If he performs with a bat in hand, will definitely make a good case to be the Daffin News Player of the Week form tomorrow as well. Statute as the call was perhaps a catch, but that came like a bullet. I give this man a bravery award. He got his bowling hand in the way, in the line of fire. Timil Patel's already shown what happens if you did so. You missed 2 games. That was crunched really hard, Jimmy.
It certainly was, and let's see now what's... oh, this is another good soft hands and single. So very smart cricket here from Nikhil Datta, because Harish Kakani had been a little aggressive. They've got 7 runs off this over. Again, we're going to look for more than that, but for now, I think San Diego will take the fact that they got 7 runs and didn't lose a wicket, because this is one of those where, as we said earlier, Suhas, you're looking for a 50-60 run partnership, get San Diego at least up to about the 100 mark, and even that's going to be putting pressure on the people following. So end of 9, 4 for 47.
Now we're going to do Toyota. (2022) Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Basant Regmi gets the ball in hand. Basant Regmi. I was having a conversation with him last week, and because Jimmy, we had covered the games here in San Diego, it was very interesting knowing what the surface had to offer, especially for a spinner. And the moment he saw some of the highlights, and he said, there are few spots which are trusting the spinner more than the batter. He says, I want the ball in hand. I want to be in San Diego. Today gets an opportunity.
He sure does, and last time he was here last year, Suhas, he was really, really impressive. So let's see what a year can do. Basant.
He's been one of the key bowlers for Nepal while he was in the international circuit. And Nepal always go in with a left arm spinner. There's another Sagar, the young Sagar, who's coming through the ranks in Nepal, and someone who'd love to seek mentorship from this man with the ball in hand, Basant Regmi. He's been searching for some wickets as well.
In the meantime, Nikhil Datta has flicked one to short mid wicket for a single to take his score up to 8, and San Diego 4 for 48. Basant getting slow turn. So far, he's not done anything that's jeopardized, at least the batting side, but we'll see. He's only in his 3rd ball, and here he is bowling from the tennis court end.
He's slow, but a slip has been awarded to him. Slightly short. The batter latches onto it. That's in the gap too. Basant Regmi realizes the margin of error is so little. Harish Kakani is someone who thrives against the spinners. Just marginally short, Jimmy, and Harish Kakani latches onto it so nicely. Puts it in the gap between deep square leg and a man at deep mid-wicket.
Well, certainly showing his intent here, Harish. He's to the bowlers. He wants to get 20, 30 quick runs up there so that score moves into the 70s and 80s. But let's see. Short again, pulled down towards fine leg. That should be another 4. It's going slow, so there's a lot of chase in it. That's 2 runs. And a very, very strong arm there from the fielder out at fine leg. So 2 more runs, and clearly, as you can see here, Kakani is in a rush. Gets into double figures. He's on 11. He's got 2 4s in them.
Harish Kakani was definitely aiming for another boundary with a hard hit. Didn't get the best of timing. Basant Regmi still has a huge heart. He's been bowling so slowly so that he can turn as much as possible. Now the slip has come off and become the man at square leg. Oh, misfield! Misfield would be in there. More runs. Should have been a dot ball, but instead it's at least 2 more. Basant Regmi, he doesn't want to look at the fielder at this moment. The very reason he was put in place was to ensure it's a dot ball, Jimmy.
And it went straight. It's one of those unforgivable ones, and I don't blame the bowler. He's pretty upset about this. 9 runs off these 5 balls, and the score very quickly now moving into the 50s.
7 runs of the previous over, 9 of it already with the ball to go. Harish Kakani will quietly pick up a single. In fact, he wants to push for 2. 2 would have been a hallucination with a very quick current rating to the ball and getting the throw in as well. 57 on the board now for San Diego Surf Riders for the loss of 4 at the halfway mark. 78 required in 10 overs.
I need to get the Toyota. And you need to get those your guys in.
Was gone. This wicket is also slowing down a touch, and Cody Shetty has realized that. He wants space from both ends. Just get the feeling, that means just 1 over for Basant Regmi. We'll have to wait and watch if he gets another from the same end. Oh, alright, for the moment it's going to be pace. Harish Kakani's got off to a start. Wanted that single, so premeditated there, Harish Kakani. 14 of 10 with the help of 2 boundaries. Now Harish Kakani is someone very dynamic. Not only has he helped his team with the ball in hand by picking 3 important wickets on a surface that's assisting spinners, he shines through as a pacer. Harish Kakani now with the ball in hand, now with the bat in hand, scored a couple of lovely boundaries. Is concentrated. I tell you what, Venu Kalyan Madireddy, someone who's picked up a 5 recently against Michigan Stars. He is in tremendous form. Direct hit would have been a goner. Harish Kakani losing his footing. Harish Kakani losing his concentration too, Jimmy.
Yeah, that was a suicide attempt, and I'm glad that Nickel Dutter calmed him down, back. There was a little bit of an adrenaline rush on that one, but umpire Pankaj decides to go across into the shade. Is that right? He's gone to the offside, and he's looking for shade, or maybe the sun's in his eye. Picking up at more than 8 runs.
Absolutely. Who is going to be Andrew for San Diego Surf Riders? Who is going to be Karan for San Diego Surf Riders? There are 2 set batters in the middle, and that's something San Diego Surf Riders would breathe easy because of. 59 for 4, 60 for 4 with that single after 11 overs. 75 required in the last 9. 6 wickets in hand. The required rates crept up to 8.32. Very capable batters in the middle. One of them's got the prowess of finishing it off. One of them mends the innings so well. Harish Kakani. Cody Chetty is taking a gamble. He has gone again with Basant Regmi. Basant Regmi is not getting... He's getting some turn from this end, but he's not getting that bounce. Almost kissing the stump on that occasion.
And that's what happens when you put the ball up above the aisles. The spinner is supposed to spin the ball, to flight the ball. And I know I sound a little old-fashioned here, Suhas, but that's how you get a wicket. And right now, it's not about the runs, it's about getting a couple of wickets.
Very cheeky here, Basant Regmi. He sent his captain at the edge of the 30-yard circle and instructed him not to take that start. Harish Kakani gets it from the middle of the bat. The short ball doesn't deserve to stay in the ground. 6 all the way. It's a replica of what happened in the first over. Basant Regmi dropping it short. Harish Kakani dispatching it to the fence and beyond.
I think Harish is beginning to understand here, Suhas, that this is a very slow pitch, and particularly with someone like Basant who's not pushing it through, like you could see, from the San Diego side, people like Vedant can push the ball very quickly, even as a spinner, and know how to hold it back. I don't see Basant with that quickness. He's bowling slow. He's turning the ball, but when you bowl slow and you bowl short, it gives the batter all the time in the world, which is what happened here. And from the middle of the bat, that ball sailed over mid-wicket for 6. That went a long way.
Harish Kakani is in search of a good innings to announce himself in the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Would want to believe this is the innings, would want to believe this is the day. He's already performed with the ball in hand. Now if he can get runs with the bat in hand, and more importantly the important runs, and the important runs are the ones that always ensure that your team stays in the hunt and sometimes takes you beyond the required target as well. If he can take his team home, then he'll call this a very good day indeed.
And then look at the way he played the next ball. Total caution. It was spinning. He got his right foot across and pushed it straight back down the wicket, which is what you want to see. So here's Basant again, left arm, flighted, and this one's gone high. This one should be out of the ground, and it is. Bang on the roof.
This is
Second
why.
6.
Jimmy, this is why it was a gamble to give it to Basant Regmi.
Well, certainly now it's a question of pride here. Basant is going to really want this wicket. He's got 3 more balls, and I'm not sure if he gets hit for another boundary whether we're going to see him again. But certainly this is something that Harish is going to have to watch. You know, curb that enthusiasm. If it's loose, crack it. But if not, don't just swing. Here we go. Let's see what happens. And this one is high, and it is up, and out of sight. I don't know where it is, and it's gone. He's out. Out of sight for us, Suhas, but it was not out of sight of the fielder. It was up in the air and taken right on the mid-wicket boundary. What a catch.
I eat my words back. Basant Regmi has provided the wicket. Harish Kakani is unable to believe that he's got caught in the deep, but to be very honest, that shot was unnecessary. He's got 2 sixes.
That's right.
Chasing
that's
a target.
what I meant, and I think Basant answered what I asked, which is who's going to win this battle. And Harish went for the big shot. I mean, seriously, at this stage, you've got 2 sixes. You could have played that ball down to mid-on and got a single and given the strike over to Nikhil. But once again, this is the adrenaline. Harish was looking for 3 sixes. It would have clearly changed momentum in this innings, you know, to get us out of San Diego person, but not to be. And 5 down, half the side gone, a little bit more than half the total. So the question is, how deep is the San Diego Surf Rider depth, our bench now? Here we go.
More pressure on the man on strike. Nikhil Datta he's got to play the anchor's role. Just get a feeling someone like Harish has got the prowess to hit any ball out of the ground at any stage of the game. He's got 2 in the over. Now goes for the 3rd one. Gets held out in the deep. Basant Regmi has the last laugh. A successful over for Basant Regmi despite being dispatched for 2. 12 overs gone. 73 for 5. .62 required in 8 overs for San Diego Surf Riders. Hollywood Master Blasters, in total they lost 5 wickets to reach 134. San Diego Surf Riders with 8 overs and 62 runs to get have already lost half their side for 73 on the board. Harish Kakani was having an all-round performance today, much like Toyota Tundra.
And it's Timul Patel now from the reserve end. First ball was a googly, and it came back in. Confused even the wicket keeper, so that's going to be a bye. Oh no, he shows it's I guess the umpire signaling that it may have been bat on it, but a run nonetheless.
Nikhil's not complaining.
Nikhil's not complaining. He gets his score now up to 11. San Diego in deep trouble now. It looked like Harish was the man today, Suhas, but it was just that little rush of adrenaline. That ball really went up. In fact, it went out of sight. We were behind the sight screen here, and the ball went to deep long on. But when we saw the players jumping up, it was clear that it was out because they were rushing towards the field. The next ball coming in, taking a little bit of bounce there, and Sam just pushing it down to the leg side.
You've got to love this from Cody Chetty. He's thrown it to Timul Patel, who's one of their best bowlers at the moment, up against a youngster who wants to prove a point.
Had no idea where that ball went, Sam did.
Samson Bhatti, why is he going for a big shot as well? I think this is the time Nikhil Datta proves to be the mature cricketer, the mature batter.
Yeah, San Diego's absolutely going to be putting all their money on Nikhil Datta, and he's going to have to come out with a really big score today.
Now the tap and run.
Now, one of the things I noticed, if you've been observing here, Suhas, Nikhil Datta has this hesitancy to get off the blocks. He was almost like crouching, waiting, watching where the Sambadi was coming down the line, and it was only then that he fired off. So in cricket, you've got to get going, and you've got to get going fast.
what that single's also suggested to me, and that premeditation to have taken the single, is the fact that Nikhil Datta is addressing the fact that Timil Patel's having a good day, doesn't want to attack him, and the situation is also such that a new batter has just walked in. A wicket at this stage would mean 2 new men at the crease, and the required rate would creep up whilst the two try and get going. It's not a track when you can get going immediately as well. Samson Bhatti, he's taken the fielder on, and it's just the way this man plays. Number 333 is reminding you what another left-hander could do if he borrows the leave out of Chris Gale's book.
Well, that's going to take some finding out there. The good news is that it has been retrieved from the reserve, so that ball went high. I think it went higher than it went far, but clear the ground. That's it. Out of the ground, 6 runs, and the score now moving to 81 runs at the end of that 13th over. San Diego 5 for 81.
A terrific hit, but again, very risky. Samson Bhatti, he lives by the sword, dies by the sword. Even though there was a long gone in place, he backed himself to go for the big shot and cleared it in the end. Now Samson Bhatti, I think Samson Bhatti would be earning a lot of brownie points, and of course would come out of this innings as a mature batter if he can stay there till the end, if he can curb his instincts. He's just seen his senior partner hit 2 big wonderful shots from the middle of the bat, but find himself back in the pavilion as he was in search for the 3rd one, and that too very quickly. Venukalyan Madhireddy gets a change of ends. Will that also bring a change in fortune for this man from Hyderabad? Oh, lovely delivery. Makes the batter play. By bowling stick 5, that was against Michigan Stars. Was bowling well against SoCal Lashings as well. Back in LA, Venukalyan Madhireddy, he's got a one that comes in so nicely to the right hander. Interestingly, with this angle,
unfortunately run out, and then the last one, much disappointed Harish Kakani lifting the ball only to see it taken on the long on boundary. Quick single taken out here, so 5 for 82, bringing the left-handed Samson Bhatti to take the last ball from a very, very good over from Venukalyan.
what we haven't seen so far is that bouncer as well is known to bowl a lethal bouncer, Venukalyan Madhireddy, and of course many a batter who've played Venukalyan complain of the heavy ball too.
As he goes away from us to bowl from the tennis court end. Again, slower ball outside the off stump, hardly coming above the ankle height. No chance of a run there. What a fantastic over, and especially on the 14th over, Suhas, when all the pressure is on the batters to get going with the run rate, and you bowl an over with 1 run. Brilliant bowling.
14 overs gone, 83 for 5. 52 required at the last 6. I'm unable to load here also because of the net. The net is off, I think. Curran, a healthy knock with the bat, wickets with the ball in hand. He's answering above and beyond his call of duty here. Former star from Gujarat, now called Bay Area his home. Even in the San Diego in SCCA tournaments, he was such a treat to watch. A couple of 150s that got
it and hit out to deep mid-wicket for a single. Mrinal Patel, who didn't have a good day with the bat, manages to field it. Only 5 runs off that. So at the end of 15th over, 5 for 85. At this stage, the Master Blasters were 11 runs ahead, so they were 4 for 86. 96, I'm sorry, 4 for 96. So 11 runs is a huge difference when it comes to the last quarter of the game.
It's
San Diego
important.
certainly looking for a big over. I think you're going to have to need a 14, 15 run over, but you don't have a Harish, you don't have a Marty Kane, you don't have a Greg. So it's going to be pretty tough, and it's going to be on the shoulders of Nikhil Dutta.
Yes, coming to that point, actually, the two ways of scoring those 8 per over. Now, of course, 9 runs per over. One is to target one delivery of every over. Now 2 deliveries of every over and try and send it beyond the fence while you concentrate on singles and twos. And the other one approach is, oh, will that be taken just beyond point? That came from the toe end of the bat, was in the air for a long time. The fielder tried his best and does well to recover from that dive, run all the way to the fence and stop the ball from going over it. He's kept it in play, and that means he's saved a single run for his side at the end of the day. It's Karan.
Good effort in the field there, Suhas, and that's what is important. If you're going to win a game, everyone, the batters, the bowlers, the fielders, have got to show intent, and that's what they did. Now, I wonder what's happening here, but Nikhil Dutta is walking out. I think he wants a change of gloves.
I'll tell you what, those are not just gloves. There's a lot of messages as well being exchanged from the dressing room.
There wasn't much communication, though, so if there was a message, I don't know what it was, because it couldn't have been more than 2 words. Get going, I guess.
No, the other way of going about this is to target one particular bowler. Now, Venu Kalyan Reddy has got another important over up his sleeve. That's gold dust for Cody Chetty. And Ayan's well has been worth his weight in gold. Samson Buddy gets it from the better part of the bat, but straight to the fielder, a deep backward square. The throw is already coming in, so cannot even think of a second run. The good news for San Diego Surf Riders is that Samson Buddy is getting it from the middle of the bat, but the bad news, it's going straight to the fielders. It's the second time it's happened. That means more pressure on Nikhil Dutta to find the boundary in this over to keep his team afloat. It's important that he doesn't leave too many towards the end. A slightly slower this time. Nikhil Dutta hits it straight to point. Now Cody Chetty, not only does he collect the ball, but runs all the way to the bowler. He's given him a nod as well. I think it's a counter sign for a delivery which has been practicing for a while. Is this the slower one? Is this the Yorker? Something's got to give in this over. Samson Buddy is walking towards the bowler. Now the keeper's to be blamed. He's got to be in on the plan too. Samson wants a second run. An underarm throw that goes nowhere means the second run would be completed without any resistance whatsoever. Pressure. Cody Chetty knows that this run is a gift to San Diego Surf Riders.
But actually, that was a relatively safe run, Suhas, because you had the wicket keeper was nowhere near the wickets. The fielder was throwing underarm, so I think that was a pretty easy second run for them eventually. But it's getting to be 7 runs so far off this over.
So true, Jimmy, and I really believe there should have been someone backing up. The proactiveness was missing on that occasion from Hollywood Master Blasters. Doesn't need to play at this one. 8 of the over, Ayan feeling the pressure. Can he come back with a slower ball which someone like Bhatti would least expect?
And Suhas, you see the battle of the youngsters here. Sam Bhatti moving across the offside and I'm putting a little pressure on the young Ayan, who promptly sent it outside the tram line. So it's one of those things where, you know, you've got to hold your nerve, you've got to bowl in the spot. And let's see now, Samson Bhatti doing all the little tricks that you probably watch on IPL.
This time he doesn't
this one's
dance down the track.
Jammed into him. That was a good Yorker there. A single. Interesting over so far. Five for 94. And Ayan Desai would like to keep this over to what it is so far.
Is there a slower delivery coming up? He's
Oh,
gone with a
that's
short
high
one.
above the, and that's a wide. And the question is, was it high enough that it's a no ball? Nope, just a wide. So he's going to have to bowl that ball again.
That takes the score to 98. Now you could see support arriving for San Diego Surf Riders.
You got the San Diego Youth Academy in all its glory here, chirping away from the boundary.
And if I'm hearing it right, I think it's a popular Bollywood number. with words of the subject turned into San Diego Surf Riders to suit the situation perfectly. I think that's how safe I can be with our sponsor commitments. That reminds us to thank our presenting sponsor Sunoco, because of whom this wonderful tournament is underway, fueling the best out of every single one of us. Sunoco. 98 for 5. With that single will become 99 for 5 at the end of 16. 36 required in 24 balls. This is game on, with Nikhil Datta still out there for San Diego Surf Riders, and Samson Patti getting it from the middle of the bat more often than not. Hollywood Master Blasters would believe it's a matter of a wicket over here to turn things around in their favour. Venu Kalyan Madhireddy has gone back to where he started from, the reserve end. He was so good from the commentary box end too. That was because of the lack of bounce. One end is providing bounce, one end is not providing bounce. He wants to be the best bowler on either end by altering his length accordingly. Venu Kalyan Madhireddy in search of a wicket. Nikhil Datta is the big fish, and Hollywood Master Blasters know that. Can he pick up a wicket, or will Nikhil Datta guide his team home today? First ball. A very measured shot. He's called for 2, and 2 it shall be for the shot itself. Jimmy, that's a good start for both the sides.
Yeah, Nikhil has the ability to take on the bowlers, but I'm very impressed so far that he's keeping the ball on the ground, Suhas. It's so easy to hit it into the air, and we've seen what's happened with people like Harish, who've batted so beautifully and then sent it out into the air, only to be gobbled up after hitting 2 sixes in an over. So, good cricket here. That brings up the 100 for San Diego, 5 for 101. Still that 34 elusive runs as Nikhil Datta settles into face this. That's a shot and got it high onto his shoulder. That was a good bouncer, and I think you mentioned it. A really good bouncer from Venu Kalyan. Just came up at shoulder height, fended off for a single. Let me use this chance to thank our San Diego donors and sponsors: Westpac Wealth Management, City University, MCP Gov, Pro West, Metroflex, Cesentelli, Medizen, Eklaro, and Ennis Smart. Thank you so much for your contributions to San Diego cricket. 3 runs off the first 2 balls. San Diego looking for a lot more than that. Brings up the left-handed Sam Barty.
Oh, what a game of
Sam
cricket
Barty's
we're having.
been watching, waiting. You can see that youthful exuberance. He's looking for the big shot, and let's see what happens. Outside the off stump, and he's trying to pull it down to the leg side. Totally misses it. Sam Barty's going to have to look at the ball a little bit more intensely, and I think that's exactly what advice he's going to get from the more experienced Nikhil Datta.
Yes, he's hit a 6, but that was early on. Samson Bhatti after that is middling the ball, but it's gone straight to the fielders. That's been the problem for San Diego Surf Riders. Lots of runs were stolen.
Well, 10 of 12 balls so far, and that includes 1 6. So you take that 6 away, and he's not been really troubling the scorers too much.
And how well has Madhireddy bowled? Venu Kalyan Madhireddy. 15 deliveries, just 7 runs given away. Priceless in a small run chase like this. This gone up in the air. Ravi Timbawala wants nobody near him as he pouches the catch to send Samson Bhatti back to the pavilion.
It was a matter of time, though, because Samson Bhatti was just swinging at the ball, and it was one of those where it either swung and flew over the head of the wicketkeeper, but it wasn't to be. This one, it did get into the middle of the bat, except the bat was facing the sky. The ball attempted to reach the stratosphere. Eventually, gravity brought it back and into the safe hands of the wicketkeeper. So another wicket down for San Diego, and it's 6 for 102 at this stage. And out to the middle is Adnesh Tondale, a very good, young, up-and-coming batter and all-rounder, actually. He's bowled some very useful overs for San Diego. He's just a good kid, and would like to see what he can perform today. But certainly now, I'd say the pressure on San Diego and the upper hand, given that they do have a couple of really good bowlers in the shed, is clearly in the Master Blaster section.
More pressure on Nikhil now. While that catch was taken, the batters have crossed. That means Nikhil Datta will face. Mind you, the rule changes apply after October.
Nikhil's probably happy with that as he takes on the next ball. Oh, that one kicked up again. This is the second ball this over. The first one actually took the shoulder of the bat and almost took his own shoulder. This one almost took off his nose. Good fast bowling here by Venu Kalyan. Very, very good. He's been showing a lot of intent. His slower balls mixed with a lot of bounces. That was the first one for the over, but it almost took off the nose. And I think that's not very, it's very disconcerting to be the batter out there, helmet or not. And let's see what happens next.
San Diego.
Clearly the short ball is working here. And here we go again.
But it's a resource that's scanty, isn't it? You can't bowl everything to be short. Nikhil Datta wants to farm the strike. San Diego Surf Riders reached 103 at the end of 17. The scoring rate has taken a hit, and Hollywood Master Blasters would rejoice the fact that they've picked up a wicket and kept it tight in this over. 103 for 6.
Seven, 37, 36 required. Keep them out. 32 required in 3 overs. 32 required in 3 overs. Target 37. ये वाला यूज करना है तुम उसमें कर लोगे अच्छा
Down to the last 18 balls. San Diego needing another 32 runs. And what do you know? Basant Regmi's coming back into the attack.
Nikhil Datta, who's got to go for the bigger shots. Has the prowess, has the technical ability, now has the situation as well. Up against Basant Regmi, who's enticed the batters to go for big shots and has picked up the wicket of Harish Kakani. Confident as ever, Basant Regmi would try and make the right-hander go towards the leg side, but try and spinning it away from the right-hander. Basant Regmi to Nikhil Datta. Nikhil doesn't get it from the best part of the bat, would only be a single. A single is something that Hollywood Master Blasters wouldn't mind at all, as it brings a new man to the crease. Adnesh Tondale.
Well, Basant is going to have a handful here with Adnesh. He's got tremendous reach. The question is, what's his temperament going to be at this stage, Suhas? It's more about temperament than about, how well you can hit the ball. It's knowing which ball to hit and when. So, very well spread out field. You got a short third man, a cover point, cover, a sweeper on the boundary.
Just get
Runal
a feeling.
Patel on the long off boundary. There's a long on, mid wicket on the boundary, and a fine leg. And the first ball comprehensively beaten, absolutely beaten. Clearly Tondale does not want to go for the big shot. He was looking to push it and bring Nikhil Datta back onto strike. Comprehensively beaten.
Basant Regmi slowing it down. Knows that it's a new man in the middle. Wants to entice him to go for the big shot. He's got it right once again. The keeper's excited. Adnesh Tondale doesn't lose his footing. The finger that matters is stayed down. Bandula said nothing doing. And that furniture would be reset, but an important dot delivery.
But this is where the bowlers have the upper hand, because the batters have got to be nervous at this stage. And as long as you control, hold the line, hold the length, and that's exactly what the wily Basant Regmi has done. Critical 2 dot balls. Just 1 run off this over, and the pressure is mounting unbelievably. There's going to have to be a flurry of runs, or else San Diego is going to be kissing this one goodbye. So I don't blame Adnesh. He's going for the shots. And this one is off his pads, and Wide outside the off stump, a single nonetheless. Valuable. 6 for 105, 30 runs to go. But now you're looking at 14 balls.
30 runs to go, 14 balls. Mind you, Venu Kalyan Madhireddy has one more over up his sleeve and he's bowling at an economy unreal as 2.67.
Really has bowled well, and those bouncers are making it extremely difficult to score off.
That means these are the two deliveries that Nikhil Datta will have to attack. Nikhil Datta doesn't have the room to go for the big shot on the leg side. Will only get a single. Another paltry over with one more ball to go. Adnesh Tondale is not middling the ball. Can he change it around? If he does in this over, this ball, then he'll keep his team in the hunt.
So this is where Basant could probably have won the game for the Master Blasters, because if he had gone for 12 to 15 runs, that would have totally changed the momentum, but he's really done well to hold it.
That's the
and
experience.
Here's just a single. A very good over, just 4 runs off it, 6 for 107, and with only 12 balls to go, 28 runs to go. Tremendous pressure on the batters here.
(2022) Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship presented by Sunoco. Now, thanks to our title sponsors, Toyota, for the second year running, giving this game the global reach that it deserves and giving this tournament the global reach as well. That is exactly why cricketers like Ravi Timbawala, who represented USA, of course, now find themselves in the minor league setup for Hollywood Master Blasters, have earned a lot of fans back in India. Thanks to Toyota for the lovely reach that this game is able to get, this tournament is able to get.
And we also want to thank our local sponsors here: Westpac Wealth Management, City University, MCP Gov, Pro West, Metroflex Gym Oceanside, Cis Intelli, Medicine, Eclaro, and Enestat.
Few-
19th over in here. Suhas has to go for about 15 or 16, and I really can't see where that's going to come from, but here we go. Ooh, that was a nasty bouncer right into the shoulder of a very tall Adnesh. But 1 run nonetheless. San Diego will take that, although they would rather have a lot more. These bouncers are causing a lot of pain, literally.
I'll tell you what, a bouncer of the first ball would mean. I was really interested in seeing if it's one for the over, and eventually it was. So that means you know as a batter now that it's going to be pitched up. It cannot be that short. It's the bigger boundary on the leg side. Nikhil Datta will fancy it nonetheless, but doesn't have the pace to work with on this occasion. Only a single. Venu Kalyan Madhireddy is winning this game for Hollywood Master Blasters.
Very, very intelligent bowling, and this is what we've been talking about, Suhas, is to slow the ball. When the batters are going after you, slow it down. It's very, very difficult to pick up a slow ball versus when you're hitting with the speed, the ball carries much, much further. Let's see what Tondale has.
He's walked outside off. He did
He'll probably
predict.
get 2 in that if he wants to hurry. He's probably not going to do that, giving strike again. But the singles at 3 runs, I'm sure that Master Blasters would take that. 3 runs of 3 balls.
Even though you know it's going to be a slower delivery, the batter is caught in the web of how slow it's going to be. What
25
I'm interested
more in just 9 balls.
Yeah,
It's a lot of pressure here.
25 and 9. What I'm interested in seeing, Jimmy, is whether someone like Nikhil Datta will dance down the track or will he stay back and try and hit it. He's decided to do the latter and slapped it straight down the ground. It's travelled the distance as the ball disappears into the reserve. A 6 that was so very much needed for San Diego Surf Riders to stay in the game. Nikhil Datta is signalling. The Lone Ranger in the woods is still alive and kicking. That's the first shot in anger played by Nikhil Datta. For someone who's been so measured throughout this innings, it's been a softer innings, it's been the quieter innings from a man who usually provides the flashy ones. But that is also because he's battered the situation. With wickets falling at regular intervals around him, it was important that he stays there for San Diego Surf Riders. Now it's important that he takes his team home to be pronounced winners.
19 runs required of 8 balls, which means you've got to have perhaps 3 of them, a couple of boundaries, and a 6 will give you, about 14 of 3, and then you're going to have to really hustle for the rest. So it's still an opportunity on both sides.
Third umpire, Daniel Meredith, has brought in the replacement balls. I'm not quite sure if Venukalyan Madhireddy would be very happy with the replacement ball, because
well, the reserve has been gobbling off balls from the San Diego
it's as simple
team.
as that, Jimmy. If the ball is in the reserve ball is out.
There you go. Well, it's a marvelous way of looking at it, and I think the Master Blasters are still quite keen on finding that what they may consider to be the lucky ball, but it's not to be. I think they're going to have to hurry up and get back onto the field.
Adnesh Tondale is having a look at it. Of course, he's wearing the gloves right now. Otherwise, would have tried to grip the ball to see. That's the instinct of a pacer, Jimmy.
Well, Nikhil Datta. Suhas in the last over, at the changeover, Nikhil asked for a change in bats. Now, that sounds more like a Mahendra Singh Dhoni type, and I wonder what's the magic in that bat, but it sure worked. The first ball went over the fence, so it's something he's probably used to. So let's see what that bat can do on the next 3 balls.
And the way he got it for 6 as well. He slapped it straight over the head of the bowler. And someone who's on song, it can be very demoralizing to see the ball fly like that.
Absolutely.
But Venukalyan
Madhireddy, we're
Madhireddy
still down to that 8 balls.
Will get a single. He's got to push for 2, but 2 is not available. That's a good throw. That is a fantastic throw. Ravi Timbawala also hangs back to collect it at a comfortable height.
Now, can Adnesh Tondale learn from this? Because what you saw here, Suhas, is Nikhil waiting for the ball and then making the stroke versus, premeditating, running off and making foolish strokes. So here we go. Last ball of the 19th over. And Tondale. Oh, that ball is cracked. That one is cracked well into the reserve, and that ball is not coming back.
Adnesh Tondale emerges the hero just at the right time, is keeping this team in the hunt. San Diego Surf Riders, they would need 12 of the last over. 11 is the cushion for any bowler who's going to bowl this one. Cody Chetty is called for a mini meeting. That's all because Adnesh Tondale is out there to ruffle some feathers. That was in the slot, got the width, and he smashed it straight over the head of long off. Won't be surprised if this mini meeting lasts for a while, Jimmy. 11 is the cushion that the bowler will get. 12 required for San Diego Surf Riders to pick up a win over here. And another nail biter at the Canyon Side Park.
It must be something to do with Saturday, and now this is when the ifs, ands, or buts. If you look at the difference here, Suhas, it's those 1s and 2s San Diego's fielding conceded. It's the 5 wides a couple of times where the ball was down the leg side and ran off to the fence. So now you look at those and you kick yourself.
Zubair, who was listening to commentary all this while, would be putting his head under the pillow for a while.
If he has a pillow, that is, but let's see. This is a very, very brave move. This is a very brave move, much like last year when Ronald Patel had to go in and throw down those last 6 balls, and anything can happen, but we don't want to be reminded of the past. We're here for the next 6 balls, and
I can't believe, Jimmy, you as a commentator just heckled the fielder.
Well, I was exchanging, for those who can't see it, I'm just exchanging with our good friend here, Ronald Patel, former San Diego Surf Rider. We love him and we certainly wish him the best. So here we go, 6 balls in the hands of a left-hand spinner.
Basant Regmi, with all the international experience, emerges as the best from Nepal. Can he get the job done for his team? First delivery Right on the money. Nikhil Datta, how is he treating these 12 runs in his mind? Is he treating these 12 runs as 2 big hits? Or is he someone who wants to take the game as close as possible? The good news for San Diego Surf Riders is that even if he picks up a single, there is pressure on Basant Regmi because Tondale has shown how to hit a 6-2. He's called for 2. He wants to farm the strike. The second one's not on. The throw, well, slightly slow. Tondale gets there with a little shimmy. Didn't even have to dive. That is what long legs are all about. That is what good strides are all about, Jimmy. 10 required of 4. Basant Regmi, he's quickly on to the next delivery. He's ready to bowl the next. But someone who wants to slow things down is Nikhil Datta, who's just come back from a very quick second run. Would he go for the inside out shot now? Or would he target the leg side by moving and shuffling outside off? He stays there and has missed a pretty straight ball. Basant Regmi has picked up the big fish once again. And that means experience from Nepal is providing much needed wickets for Hollywood Master Blasters and keeping them in the game. More pressure on Tondale, who finds himself at the non-strikers end now, but would be itchy to get those 2 hits away from the middle of the bat.
And
Big moment in the game, Jimmy.
And out to the middle comes Zubair, who, if he heard what I just said, conceded those 5 wides at a second over of his, or first over. And so here he comes, and Zubair is very capable of taking on the bowlers and clearing the ground, except he's got 10 runs of 3 balls.
10 runs of 3 balls, and also it's the tennis ball end, the tennis court end, I beg your pardon, that the bowling is happening from. Had it been the reserve end, could be a different story, but Zubair would want to forget that. And the reason I say this to all the listeners, Zubair practices day in and day out to hit the ball into the reserves.
Well, he's going to have to change and hit to the tennis court end, and you've got to give it to Basant. He bowled a good cricket ball. He bowled a center stump, slow, good length, not over pitched, and the batter swiped at it, missed it, and off to the pavilion he went.
Basant Regmi, he's got the confidence and the momentum. He's not giving room. The idea is to come back for 2. Zubair wants to farm the strike. Who gets there first? The throw or the batter? Zubair gets there, but off the ricochet, will not get another run, even though Tondale wanted it. 8 required of 2. This is getting down to the wire.
A repeat of last week, where San Diego needed 7 of 2 and got it was at that stage Nikhil Datta caught on the boundary an inch or 2, and it would have been 6. But let's see what Zubair can do. Basant bowling very smart here. He's not giving the batter a chance to take the ball into the air.
Zubair, will he dance down the track? Does, but finds himself too close to the ball to play a big shot. It's a single, 7 of 1. Tondale wants a second. It's an afterthought, but will get there as the throw was wide. Basant Regmi is furious with the throw not being as close to the stumps as possible. Had to do too much. 6 required of 1 ball. And 6 is a language that Zubair usually speaks. But can he speak when the vocabulary is something that he still needs to work on from this end? Had it been the reserve end, Jimmy, I would totally understand that you would say, yes, he will go for it. Yes, the 90% of the time he clears the reserve end. Now it's as much as psychology at play as skill. Zubair.
What an absolutely cruel world here, Suhas. This is Zubair needing to score 6, and it was 5 runs of a wide ball.
Zubair, can he undo the mistakes of the ball in hand with one big cracking hit with the bat? Zubair misses it. It is a legal delivery indeed. That's well within the tram line. A single to end the game. The man who emerges hero is Basant Regmi. He was going in 9 and over before this over. But when the time comes, the legend from Nepal steps up, provides a much needed victory for Hollywood Master Blasters. Oh, what a good game of cricket. The game that went down to the wire. A game that did not make anyone leave their seats.
And how good was that last ball, Suhas? Knowing that it was 6 runs. You didn't want to bowl it short because the batter could wait and crack you over. You didn't want to overpitch it. So what does he do? He bowls a genuine left arm breaking ball, turning out to the offside, pitched outside the off stump. The only thing the batter could do was probably crack it across for 4, and that would have been enough for the Master Blasters. So you've got to give it to Basant. Very smart bowling. This is the same person, if we were to reflect on this game, he's the one who took one of the most important wickets. If I were to look back here, Suhas, Harish was on fire today. He was middling the ball. He'd hit 2 sixes of that over. Almost got the 3rd 6, but it was the calm and collected Basant. I know he went for a lot of runs, but it was that important wicket of Harish. When Harish went, it put so much pressure on Nikhil Datta and the rest of the players. So, again, a fantastic Saturday afternoon here. Cricket at its very best. This is what makes everyone turn up to the park, and neither side let us down. They both played their hearts out, and you've got to give it to the Hollywood Master Blasters. They stuck in there. They fought till the very, very last. And then on the other hand, you've got to give it to people like Nikhil Datta, young Sam Bharti, who smashed the ball over the fence, Tondale, who showed what a cracker outside the off stump, hitting it over cover. So, you know, the ifs, ands, buts, but there's nothing other than the bitter taste of defeat for the San Diego Surf Riders, and of course, the joy of winning an absolute nail-biter. So we'll be taking you over to the final presentations, but for now we're going to send you back to the studios on behalf of Suhas and myself, Jimmy Ankelsaria. Thank you for being with us, and we hope you enjoyed this game as much as we did.
You're watching the Toyota Minor League Cricket Championship, presented by Sunoco.